Tonight, on 8.5-bit, we go exploring, kill some rats, and a third thing. Welcome, friends of all designs, to episode 272 numbers of 8.5-bit. I'm your host, Paul, and joining me tonight are my good friends, James.
Hello.
And Sam.
Hi.
How are we going tonight, gentlemen?
Quite well. I'm going well. I'm well and truly packed for my Japan trip tomorrow. I
felt like I should have a follow-up question, but I'm like, I was waiting to hang.
That's some good podcast radio.
Yeah, podcast radio. Here we go.
So my goal for the whole reason for this Japan trip, this is the sole reason I'm going.
Yeah,
is last time I was there for the honeymoon, I went into one of the many game shops, and there was a Japanese copy of Doom, a boxed Japanese copy of original Doom,
and you're hoping it's still there.
And I'm hoping it's still there, so I can buy that boxed copy and then go to the big box game group on Facebook and brag about it. This is the only reason. The sole reason.
Flight to Japan.
This is why I'm
brag about a Japanese
I need
copy
to be in the big box Facebook group with all these big box old PC games and have people think it's cool.
Seems like a legitimate reason.
I need their validation.
Yeah, it's validation from...
I got rid of too many big boxes, but my remaining ones are pretty good.
I don't think I have any.
Yeah.
I got Speedball 2.
I lie. I have Sacred.
You got a good copy of Space Quest 4. I assume you still got the magazine in that thing?
Yeah, Space Quest 4 is complete.
Yeah.
Everything there is pretty much complete. Relentless, which some people call Little Big Adventure, but the right people call it Relentless.
Your sealed copy of Giants.
Yeah. I've got several copies of Giants. It's one of the few games with my names in the credits, so I need it.
Do you own all of them?
I own all of them. Well, I think the sealed copy is when I was walking through an
this sold
EB.
really well.
And it was there for $5. I'm like, I can't leave you here for $5.
Come home with me.
It's embarrassing. Giant Citizen Kabuto. Play it if you've never played it. Or don't. Do what you want. The games from today's intro were, of course, Journey to the Savage Planet, A Plague's Tale: Innocence, and... The third one.
Yeah, whatever else you want it to be from the whatever else we talk about.
Whatever you want.
To choose your own game.
What about you, Sam? Any adventures to report?
I've built a new PC on the weekend. Finally, kind of.
You've
everything
rejoined
except
the
GPU.
PC Master Race.
Yeah. It has no front bays for expansion.
No,
you can't put a cool USB-C port there?
It's got a USB-C port on the front.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I bought a very nice case.
And I'm guessing you don't put in discs because it is 2020.
No. It is.
You don't need a lot of memory card slots like Paul?
No, definitely
not. For a moment, I thought you actually had a 3.25 inch floppy drive.
I threw my pen away in anger.
Any of those expansion slots exist on the back, so...
Then you got to reach around the back. And if you plug
What's wrong with reaching around the back?
If you plug in your fancy Oculus Link cable at the back, you lose 2 foot.
I can plug that into the front.
I know, that's the problem. You told me you've got that port, which has ruined my entire argument. How dare you have a fine machine for yourself?
It is arguably one of the cleanest builds I've ever seen and done.
Congratulations.
It's a nice case. And
Paul really needs his pen back. He was getting upset about that.
I decided to split the cost by not getting a GPU yet. And I'll get one eventually before Cyberpunk. But for now, it's doing the job.
I thought you were going to say split the cost by stealing half of it.
Oh, that maybe.
Yeah.
I just walked into Umart and pretended I was
there. You should just try walk into Umart and go, let's split it.
Yeah.
Just you guys want me to have a good time.
Order something. You're like, so you're covering half of this, yeah?
Just this once. So it's been going well so far. You're all built up, all running. You got 7 fans in it.
Yeah, I could put 9. So
water-cooled CPU.
Yes.
How many RAM coolers are there?
There's no RAM coolers. That's just
Is that because RAM coolers are just kind of bullshit?
The RAM itself is cool, Paul, because it's RGB.
Yeah, that is a nightmare for Paul. I think when I was describing...
It's all colour themed.
It might have been to colour work. I was describing when I get equipment that has RGB in it, I get pliers and break off all the LEDs. How could you? I don't want glows. Glows are the worst.
Next Christmas, I'm getting you one of those flashing mice.
Oh, good.
That way, whenever you move it, it changes color.
What a treat for everyone.
The best thing I figured out is that now that I have apparently fully bought into the Corsair world, like all of the gear I put in that build was Corsair, and I have keyboard and mouse, both Corsair. All the lighting can sync up,
Fancy.
so I can have one lighting thing across everything.
It's
It's so stupid and pointless, but I love it.
Could you get a Corsair like monitor light that does the
Probably,
atmosphere light? Because if there's one thing that's
They do a lot
extremely
of
useful
stuff
I've
now.
seen in live, it's that atmospheric light that they put around
Atmospheric
TVs.
backlighting. Yeah.
It's always so helpful and useful.
It
Actually,
extends the color, Paul.
the one that I saw that was the most infuriating really extended the color. Like it took like the edge palette and it just exposed it on the wall. Which meant it was just like a multicolored nightmare the entire time.
Do you remember that? I think it was 2 years ago at CES, the Razer projector thing.
I don't
Where
recall.
they're like, we built a projector that you play with a screen, but it extends your field of view to the projector screen
All around
around
it.
your normal monitor, because that's not annoying.
Also, it was just like, and what's actually running this?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know.
yeah, because the fact it's like, well, you've got a 2K screen in the middle, and we're just gonna render everything else around the environment around.
It's like having a dual screen, or an Infinity setup, except you're layering them on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna
so
work
strange.
really well, and it's gonna run perfectly. Man, why didn't that become a thing?
I have so many more games I can play
Yeah,
that
all-
were in my list. And
All the
now
games that we were speaking
I have
about, for, like,
access to Xbox Game Pass
you
because I
finally
have
got
a
it.
fresh install of Windows that works.
Lucky you.
So my goal to complete a backlog of games just got worse because now I have a bigger backlog of games.
I've got a game that you can play on Game Pass.
Yes.
Plague's Tale: Innocence.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's on the
We
list.
don't need to talk about that yet. It's just like I know that's on Game Pass.
It's on my
It's
list.
good. It's a good game.
check out Frostpunk too.
I have played Frostpunk, yeah. It was very enjoyable.
And Giant Citizen Kabuto.
Yeah, that's good.
There's just so many things.
Yeah, it's not on Game Pass,
I'm in-
but
I'm in a
everyone
whole
should
new
have
world.
a copy. And
You should also go play Halo Reach to
realize
realize
how bad it is.
how bad it is. Yeah.
No thanks.
it is really like, because I listen to people talk about it, and a lot of people love it, and all those people have extremely strong nostalgia, but I have none. So
I've never been
Oh,
a
look,
Halo fan.
if you play that thing with a controller, it's fine.
it could be okay.
Yeah, it's like if you play that thing with mouse and keyboard, oh lordy, no.
There's just better shooting in other games now.
Yeah.
We've really been good at it, and I mean, I don't like Destiny much, but the shooting, Bungie's got way better at it.
Yeah, there is that. It's
Yeah.
some solid shooting.
Yeah, I like some shooting. I mean, everyone else hates it, but I liked it. Wolfenstein Youngblood, prefer that shooting.
Yeah,
It's
that's
pretty
good
good.
shooting.
Remnant from the Ashes, give me some of that. That's some good shooting. Yeah, some good shooting. Okay, do we have any other tales? I've got one.
No, you've got one.
I've just got one that just made me angry because Lock and Key came out on Netflix and I didn't even remember it was coming. And I got very excited, and then I watched it. And then I was less excited, but
It was okay, right?
I reread the books instead, and it calmed my anger
Yeah, so what it did was reintroduce you to
to the books.
the books.
Well, it's good because because I'd lent them to Amy ages ago.
And I finally
And they
brought them
came
back,
back
to you.
with them, and I just binged the whole thing in 2 days. Lock and Key, the show is... So Lock and Key, if you do not know it, is a comic series written by Joe Hill, who some people would know as Stephen King's son. He has a cameo in the show, just one shot. And when people post the show, say, it's like, who the hell is this? He looks just like Stephen King. It's, like, it's his son. Yeah, he looks exactly the same, just less drugged out, I guess. But yeah, it's a story about a family that's sort of broken apart from trauma, and they go back to an old house that their father grew up in, and there is a world of magical keys that do all sorts of things. And it's the comic is a horror. I put it a little bit like horror Goonies to a degree. It's some real Elder God, like horrible shit happens in that book. I forgot how violent it is at points. And what they decided to do with the show was tone it down.
Ooh,
which
oh
for
no.
a show that is very much a story that's very much about dealing with trauma, when you make the trauma less traumatic, it does make it less emotional. It's like I'm not saying you need to get over it, but why are you so upset? Just generally I'm all for change. I think adaptations should change things, so don't get me too wrong on like they didn't stick to everything, but just when they remix something in a way that just loses.
I feel like
why
they
it was
should be
good.
allowed to change like things, but the tone should stay the same.
The tone should be one of the things. So one of my favorite things ever is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which
definitely
began as a radio show, and then had a book, and then had a TV show, and all those iterations are different. In fact, the second book and the second season of the radio show are totally different because the radio show came first, and Douglas didn't really like it, so he's like, "Let's do a different story in the book. It'll be fine."
Why not?
Yeah. So they're vastly different, and that's one of the things Hitchhiker's fans love about the series, that every iteration, even the movie, which is not the best, would mix things up. So it was totally different. It was great. And some of my favorite bits are some of the things that Douglas said he hated the most. So,
but it's all identifiably Hitchhikers. Which is the
it's
goal.
All the same tone, and it's taking character
what
remixing
matters.
them. It's like Naked Lunch, one of my favorite movies, and a book that I quite like. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite books, but still pretty good. Those things have nothing to do with each other almost, except for a spirituality to it and sort of an inspiration of each other. And it's one of my favorite adaptations ever. It's like, I read this, and this is what I was feeling when I read your book. And the William S. Burroughs, who wrote the book, really liked the adaptation. It's like, it's nothing to do with my book, but it's a great adaptation. Anyway, enough about that. Lock and Key is watchable, but I wouldn't say it's good. It's not awful.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But you can probably do better things. And it's... Because I was thinking why it offends me so, which it does a little bit in my soul, if such a thing exists in Paul. And it's simply that when you find something you really like, but it's, say, a medium as a comic book or a book or something, and there's a limited range of people you can expose to that because it's more time investment. Not everyone's going to do that. Comes a TV show or a movie. Finally, I can share this with people.
Yeah, it's much easier to get people to binge watch something.
And then it's it's like when they did the Dark Tower movie. I mean, dear God.
we don't
Did I see that with you, James?
I haven't seen it.
I saw it with a friend that hadn't read Dark Tower, and afterwards I asked, "What was the plot?" And they did not know because it is not in that fucking movie. It is.
Well, didn't they try to do a whole bunch of the series in the one?
Oh, so the movie is indescribably bad in an adaptation. It sort of starts with like a scene that didn't exist but would happen in the timeline in like the 6th book. Like stuff that you're not even have an inkling of at the beginning of that story, and it makes no sense and it's not explained, and the characterization is it's nothing. It just has the same name and it has a few
really
characters with
good.
the same names. It is. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the series itself has some flaws, don't get me wrong. It's all over the place, but that movie is not worth watching.
What were movies? Saw Sonic.
Oh, you saw Sonic, did you?
Sonic, yeah.
What did you think?
I had a good time with it.
Did you go fast?
It did go fast.
Another very good friend of mine who is possibly the most Nintendo fanboy you can get said he very much enjoyed it and said it was very good. Not you, Paul. I know someone worse than you.
I've heard a bunch of comparisons to Detective Pikachu because it's done really well. I think it's now the highest opening grossing game movie ever.
Which I mean, game movies, right? Not that difficult.
But it took over Pikachu. I thought Pikachu would have been
Pikachu was
pretty popular. I don't know, maybe it wasn't as popular as I thought. I wouldn't say the overall thing is better than Detective Pikachu, in my opinion. I felt that Detective Pikachu had a pretty good story. I don't know. I liked it. I liked the setting. I liked the story. I liked the characters. But I think that if they'd kept the old design, it would have been a very different experience. And I kind of want them now to have as a bonus feature.
Release the monster
cut.
Release
the terror cut. But yeah.
Release the cat's cut.
The pre-patch version. I don't know. I think it's worth seeing. I mean, it's the big highlight's Jim Carrey. Oh, yeah. Because it's like watching...
I would have expected that.
It's like watching 90s Jim Carrey. Yeah, he's all over the place. There is teeth marks on all the scenery. But yeah, I know. I think it's worth watching.
Is it a kids film? It looked like it.
It's a pretty kidsy film.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that as a criticism.
Yeah, and I think you got to keep that in mind when you're watching it. And I didn't feel like there was a lot there for adults. You know how there's kind of 2 layers. There's a joke for the adults and the jokes for the kids. I felt like there was less of that. It just seemed like it was more primarily aimed at kids.
We've been talking about it a lot recently. A friend of mine is writing it hasn't been picked up yet, I don't think, but a spec show for a channel here in Australia, and it's at kindergarteners. But he's got quite a wacky sense of humour and likes things like depressed characters and things like that. So it's constantly, he'll pitch something, I go, have the censors seen that? They're fine with it. Apparently that form of cannibalism is acceptable. Like, great. I love it. Because you should be on the edge. The kids prefer it on the edge for sure. But yeah, that's interesting. He's obviously it's a full deal thing, but the thing that I find crazy is that the first season is 85 episodes.
What?
I'm like, how the fuck do you write that? So anyway, we'll see how that. I mean, hopefully that's awesome. It's been really fun talking to him so far, but obviously it's not something I can discuss because I don't even know if the deal exists. But then when it comes out, boy howdy, when we talk stupid things. Oh, I've got so much bluey goss.
Oh really? Can you talk about it?
There's no goss. It's a really nice team. Like everyone's nice that works on bluey. The main guy's the guy from Custard. I don't know him.
Oh, Custard the band.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! It took me a second to Custard.
Yeah, don't go back to the 90s. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Let's talk some video games.
Yes.
Sure. James and I, and also Sam, have played all of us to completion a video game in the last few weeks. That video game is Journey to the Savage Planet. James and I have played the game entirely in co-op. And Sam, you just soloed through the whole thing?
I stealthily soloed through it without telling you. Yeah.
Wunderbar. So actually, just as an interest, do you know approximately how long it took you to beat?
I believe, and it's, again, 100%, so absolutely everything collected and scanned.
We finished it at about
80 something?
Yeah.
I think it was about 12, 13 hours.
That sounds about right.
Not for us,
What did we do?
No. Ours is like 7.5, 8.
Yeah.
So
I spent a lot of time faffing about.
No.
But,
so here's the thing that I love about the game.
But you've got two people doing things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So this opened up. I realized there aren't many games like. We'll get to the basic premise in a second, but this is you do a lot of exploration in this game, and multiplayer exploration games aren't a common thing.
That's
Minecraft
one of the things
about.
I was wondering about and was pretty keen for tonight to hear is that my brain was trying to figure out how it worked from a game perspective.
There are parts of that game that only one of us has seen.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Like there's stuff in like the final area where there's like trials that like cut off things, and one of us would go in, trigger it, not knowing what it is. Other one can't even get in there and see what it is. But then we go off and do something else. So because you're divide and conquer, I think we actually split the game length in part because we're being more efficient about it.
Yeah, you're both completing the game at the same time. Which I like. Separate goals.
I think that's cool. And it made me actually want like a bigger game, like an even larger like world where you go in with like a team of say like 8 people. Let's break into 2 squads and like go, oh, we found a thing over here, and like you all go and work together. Like that kind of like wide exploration in a new world would be like, I don't want it to be like an MMO. I want it to be a small group. But grouping up is great fun. And like finding the secrets, getting to a new area, exploring it together and pointing things out and discussing, hey, what the hell is that over there? Oh, it works like this, and that shared joy.
So it's a lot of what I've experienced when I played Divinity 2. To be fair, because that is very much you can just
go off and do your thing.
Like,
because you can totally split up, can't you?
The 2 people playing can just split up completely. As long as you stay in the same act.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you can do whatever you want.
In this game, as long as you're in the same...
But,
There's 3 main areas
kind
of this
joy
game.
Of like, okay, I'm 5 minutes away from you, but I just found this really cool thing. I'm totally going to activate it before you get here.
It's almost like playing an MMO.
Yeah.
But with just 2 people.
Yeah.
Like,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you're going to have the more persistence of a single player game without the MMO trappings of... It's like, oh, look at all these other people doing something else that you've already done and all that stuff. So the general concept is you work for the 4th best exploration company. You've landed on
was it the kind? What's the name of the company?
I can't remember.
It's obviously memorable.
Yeah.
It's a funny game. It has some funny dialogue, which is fun. I'm invert quotes, but it's not the most hilarious stuff. But you're out on the planet. But the thing is, the game I actually find incredibly funny because I think the gameplay is very, very funny. So you're out on the planet. It's supposed to be like no civilization, but there's a giant tower when you first get there and go, hey, go explore what the hell this thing is. So as you go around the world, there are lots of aliens, and all of those aliens are some of the funniest designs.
The creature design, I love the creature design.
There's one of the standard enemies of these puffer birds, which are just little balls that sort of waddle around. and you can kick the shit out of them, and they just go flying.
They're very satisfying when they pop.
Yeah, they pop when you shoot them. A lot of enemies are basically one hit. Oh, early one, I can't remember what it's called.
The screaming one?
The Babadook.
Yeah.
It's a little cute creature, and like it's not even aggressive.
It's the Russian nesting dolls.
Yes. Yeah. It's not even aggressive, but like oh, you shoot it. It splits into two smaller ones, and it screams as it runs away.
Just sprint.
And you can
full sprint.
You can scan each of the individual steps as well.
Yeah. Because it's got a Metroid Prime scanning style thing in it. The whole game is somewhat structured like a Metroidvania, but much looser.
It reminded me a lot of a more open Metroid Prime.
Yeah. But it certainly gives a lot of you can see somewhere you want to get. It has some mechanics there that you don't understand yet. You might be able to work them out, but you might need later equipment. But what it does tend to do is it lets you get a little bit of the way there.
Yeah.
So if you're persistent and clever, you can get stuff much more like you can get it before you're really supposed to.
Because there were times like there's things like you can throw down the bounce pads.
Yeah.
Which later on you don't need
into
them. But early on that let you do a little bit of sequence breaking.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
Like not enough to break the whole thing. But you could get to areas by like putting it in places, and that I found pretty satisfying.
There are a lot of times where I got to an area not in the conventional way.
Yeah.
By like jumping up bits of rocks that I knew I could stand on.
It's also a very well connected world.
It is. Yeah.
I really appreciate that, at least in each zone, because there's a lot of verticality. You can be very high up, and you can look down, and you can see where you were before, and you can jump down, and like you can get around.
It reminds me a little bit of the Deadly Tower of Monsters in that way, which I think is a vastly underrated little action game. Because that whole game is one level, and you just keep going up and up that tower, and at certain points you just jump off the side and jump down, and you can see every single thing that you've gone past, and it's fucking awesome. But this game gives you a lot of that. There's puzzle there's lots of observing, like working out fun behaviors in the creatures. A lot of the tougher enemies are all finding the weak points to shoot, which is what I prefer in combat. It's not just big health bars.
Shoot the glowy yellow orb.
Yeah, that's generally the rule.
Good use of items. Like some things are more weak against other items than others. Like the sticky,
the
gluey
utility
things.
in it. Nice.
I found that there seemed to be multiple ways to tackle a lot of situations, which is always satisfying.
And the big thing is the mobility in the game. So it's a game where every time you get a new mobility option, suddenly you feel like the whole game is open to you. It's like, I've got a double jump. Fantastic. Spoilers, the double jump goes up to a quadruple jump.
Which is very fun.
I've got a grappling hook. It keeps going, and every time you get something that goes up, it's like, suddenly I can get everywhere. Nothing's off limits to me now.
Except for that.
Yeah, except that I can't get. What's the next bit? And it feels great moving around. By the end, you're barely touching the ground. You're flinging yourself everywhere, jumping off. It feels really nice to explore this planet. And it looks fucking nice too. I love the world design. I think it looks great.
Yeah, it's a very pretty game.
Yeah, very bright, very colourful. Lots of...
It matches the tone nicely. Yeah. Like the overall everything.
Yeah, goofy.
Yeah, it's very goofy.
It's goofy and fun. There's there's these three main areas that we talk about that you move up this world. But each area is really big, and each of that has its own separate biomes through it. So you generally, there's enough control of what each area looks like that you will instantly know where you've landed or what, as you're exploring, what connects to what. I really like the level design of it.
I really appreciated how the co-op worked by basically making it so you're just playing one character.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's
when you get an upgrade, it just goes to both.
Yeah, it keeps it so simple because it's really the best way to think of it as your two instances of the one character.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It is like there is, I think, some resources that are instanced to each player. So, like, if I die, I drop some resources.
You drop what you're carrying.
But like there were times where Paul would just go back to the ship and do the upgrading.
Yeah, like if you only need one person because there's a main ship you go back to, and it's very clever in that I said each area is quite large, but it takes a bit to load between them. So the main base, even though it's way back in the first area, it just exists in every. It's just an instant load to go between it. So one person can go back to the ship and get upgrades and deposit stuff and everything. The other person's still exploring and having fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
So there's no need to slow down the game in that way. You can divvy it up, and it's really just a really fun, solid package. And James and I played through like 2 days in a row, like the first 2/3 of the game.
That's what I did.
And then James was quite busy for like the next like week and a half, and I'm just like, "See, James, is it Savage Planet time? This is the planet of Savage Planet." Yes. No, Paul.
I was very busy. No, because when I first played the game,
Yeah.
I started off playing solo.
Yeah.
Like you. So I did experience like
A small chunk.
about probably the first maybe 20%.
Yeah.
I played solo. And I remember when I played solo, I really liked it solo. And went to go play it co-op, and I was kind of hesitant because I hadn't seen anything in the game that made me think it would be a better co-op experience. And I still kind of think that. I think that we found stuff like...
Gameplay wise, I don't think it really helps.
Like we found stuff...
Oh, wait, no. That does really help in one thing.
Yeah. You basically have unlimited health.
Yeah, so there's friendly fire in the game.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when someone dies, you can revive them, and they
so
revive
you
with full
just-
health.
So if
you're about
someone's
to
low,
fight,
you just kill them off.
Yeah,
and
shoot them in the
revive
face,
them,
and then revive them with one button, and they're full health
That's
again.
the D&D metagame
Yeah.
tactic.
Yeah.
There were some boss fights where it's like, quick, I'm on low health, kill me and get me back up again.
Yeah, like I don't think we ever really I think we probably had like one or two deaths for real.
I don't think we wiped very often.
No, I think once we might have wiped together, like on a
Yeah.
I remember us going
I think
back
there
to a
was
ship. Yeah,
one boss. It did happen very often. So I still, I don't think it did enough with co-op mechanically.
It was more like playing it solo efficiently than anything.
Yeah, but it was just a very different experience. Like, I think part of my hesitation at first going into a co-op was also I was really enjoying looking at all the nooks and crannies. And as soon as you got someone else, there's someone else that you're with, you're partially responsible for being around them. And like I thought, okay, well now I'm going to be kind of pushed through the game, or, I'll be going slower than I want. But then after a while, we did just start diverting off.
Yeah.
And then
we'd do our own thing, and then we'd call out, "Hey, I need this over here. Do you
Yeah.
have one of those?"
And I think that's where it got back to the experience, like closer to the experience I was enjoying when I was playing by myself. So I would have liked to see them do more gameplay stuff that made
Takes
use
advantage.
of the co-op, because I don't really think they did
It
too
would
much
have been
of that.
nice if they'd upped the difficulty of the bosses.
Yeah, that's probably a good
Because
idea.
Yeah.
especially the last boss, but
It's
both
not-
of them, especially as two people,
It's not an
maybe we
overly
shoot 'em and
difficult
they die.
game.
No. But generally, like the mini bosses were more difficult than the bosses
Yeah.
generally, and just some of the
I struggled on a couple of them.
yeah,
for
some
sure.
of the combinations of just general enemies could be like the top end squid things.
Yeah.
Like those things are you don't shoot them at the right time, and you basically just blasted yourself in the face a bunch, and then they throw acid on you. Like, God damn it!
Not a fun time.
No. Don't be so reckless. Don't be so. Josh, fuck. No one joins in. Hey,
No,
I don't understand.
letting you have your song time.
Yeah.
fine. Let's talk about dreams.
But, no, I think good game.
Yeah.
I think it is almost like Metroid Prime Light. They felt to me.
Yeah.
It kind of scratched that Metroid Prime itch, but was not like a huge investment.
Yeah.
Pretty chill to play.
It ended in such a way we're watching the final cutscene and all this shit happens, and James and I were basically. We have not paid the attention to the story of this game because we have no idea where any of this has come from. What the fuck is going on? We just shot a bunch of aliens and that was it. But yeah, I would very much like to see this like extended further. The only real
cool.
problem is that the developer was recently purchased
Oh.
by. Does nobody know?
I don't.
Very exciting up and coming company. Some people call them Alphabet, but we call them Google.
Oh no.
They're
So it's
working
gonna
on
be-
exclusive Stadia titles
Oh,
from
dear.
now on.
Oh dear.
Well, I'm glad they have money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
okay,
much.
yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah.
Lucky
I'm sure they
ducks.
made the right financial decision.
Yes, for the next 3 or 4 years, they are set.
Exactly. And just don't move anywhere for this job anymore. Because 3 years. That's what. I mean, maybe Stadia will be. Maybe it will land
Maybe.
eventually. And people will forget.
Not with like Nvidia's. What is it called?
You mean
Nvidia-
GeForce Now?
GeForce Now, which
What a
is
segue.
which is just the cleverest solution they could have for any of this streaming stuff.
Except
Except
Blizzard
for
Activision pulled all their games off it.
yeah.
oh, did they? I didn't hear that.
Although
yeah.
there have been reports that that's both Nvidia's fault and Blizzard Activision's fault. It wasn't just an Activision.
there hasn't been a whole lot said about it. So basically,
Yes.
Nvidia launched GeForce Now, which is basically there's a free service and a paid service. $5 a month for the paid service. Free service is you get in a line and you can play an hour of a game streaming. But it's games that you own.
Yes, that's the clever part.
Yeah, and
it's almost like you're just renting a computer.
Yes,
that you can play remotely.
It's a virtual computer.
Yeah.
So if you do the paid tier, I think you get it like 6-hour sessions or something. But that's still limited time. I'm sure
6 hours seems like
6 hours is
probably fine.
It's actually a good way
Very
to
rare.
limit game time.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I ever play 6 hours
and
straight.
what's so clever about it is it's just an extension.
Yeah,
You know, this is the thing where it's like, oh, I'm playing Wilson, and it's like I want to play it at work. It's like, well, let's play it. You know, the biggest problem is we're in Australia, and there's no Australian servers, so it's kind of useless to us.
Yeah.
But as a service, it's quite clever, and it's reasonably priced. And
So the beta was going very well. Everyone was enjoying the games, and then it launched, and suddenly, mostly Blizzard Activision, but I believe a few other games as well, just disappeared without a word. And so basically, from what I heard from the Nvidia side, which is the only people I've heard mention anything, was that they said, "Oh, well, we kind of fucked up because when we signed the contract, we thought that was extending to this sort of first trial period as well, not just the beta, but we didn't quite." So it's business sided, but I mean, there's lots of reasons. If companies can just say no, we're not part of it, then that hurts the whole ecosystem.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder what when you think about it, it's just a virtual computer.
Yep.
Like, what's the rationale? Like, they've still got their money. They're still still being purchased.
I mean, I think because it adds value to that person's service, and they may have a deal with another service.
Oh yeah, there could be that. Yeah.
Because if they can go, hey, look at all the games you can play, and people see, oh, I can play Warcraft 3 Reforged. How could I resist this wonderful video game with no controversy at all?
And that is all we're going to say about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't fucking care. Because I have been on record as thinking that game was shit from when it was first came out. So
I said
no
my
difference
bit
to
about
me. Everyone knows I'm a Battle Realms boy. I'm gonna get tattooed on my son actually. Battle Realms
Boy.
Yeah, Battle Realms boy. That's his name. We'll call him Battle Realms Broadhurst. Great name. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, GeForce Now. So problematic launch with that. But as far as everyone else, when the service is working, it's working. Streaming is working as long as you're in the right areas. It'll be interesting future. In other news, and actually in other Blizzard news, some people thought it was a suspicious thing to happen to just maybe take a bit of heat off them for certain unmentioned recent releases. But Starcraft Ghost leaked.
Oh, I actually missed that.
It did.
Yeah. The Xbox version is apparently out there. I have not tried to source it myself, so I don't know how sourceable it is. But you can totally go and watch people playing it. And it is a game that looks like a game and looked like it was probably fine, but didn't, from what I've seen, didn't look extraordinary.
This isn't doing anything.
Yeah. But Blizzard now would. Like, modern Blizzard would be like, that's close enough.
Just launch it.
Like, we told the shareholders we're going to get this many games out this year.
Launch it.
Yeah.
So yes, StarCraft Ghost was the long-awaited third-person action game starring...
Nova? Was it Nova?
I don't know.
I just remember the main
can't
Ghost.
Yeah.
Well,
I think she ended up making her way into StarCraft 2, I believe.
Probably.
Like some extension.
StarCraft 2.
Yeah. And it was long delayed and then just cancelled. And everyone wanted it, even though it may not have been great. But hey, Blizzard Adventures came out on Big Box Game Group. someone had a Blizzard Adventure box with a CD.
Wow.
And but checking my game history, yes. Yeah, it was never finished. It never came out. How is that? So somebody apparently made like a short run of like 100 really hyper realistic boxes that would have come out in a day. It's a really nice package.
Yeah.
And I bet this costs a lot, and I don't even like
did.
Blizzard that much. But boy, I wish I had this. But yeah, I played through most of Warcraft Adventures. It was a totally adequate adventure game. Not a good one, but adequate. So. Especially those days, yes, Blizzard, I can see why they cancelled, why they didn't release it, because they used to have a certain standard that they went for.
Definitely.
Yeah, and they don't care about that anymore.
Yep, which dropped when they first released Warcraft 3.
Wow. Shots fired.
I mean, I turned around on Blizzard. In the time when they were releasing Overwatch and Hearthstone,
That was a good period.
They won me back over. I was like, you know what, even though none of these games, well, I suppose Overwatch a bit, but Hearthstone and even... what was their
Heroes of the
Dota?
Storm?
Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Like, I hate MOBAs. Hate strong. Like, I don't get MOBAs. They're not, and I don't get card games. But I enjoyed playing quite a bit of both those. It's like, oh, okay.
Well, they've arguably both of those is like HOTS is MOBAs for people who don't like MOBAs.
Yeah,
And
which is one reason why it
Hearthstone
failed.
is card games for people that don't like card games.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they both are.
Well, that's what Blizzard used to do.
Yeah.
You know,
It's like, here's a genre for people that don't want to play this genre.
yeah.
Exactly.
And it worked.
And it was and what I always found, especially about Heroes of the Storm, all the main complaints was basically a list of the features I loved. So-
Hysterically, it's one of the reasons I liked Warcraft over other options time like Age of
Command and
Empires and Command and Conquer, because there were so many less resources to worry about. So that was the RTS for people that didn't like RTSs.
Well, the real RTS for people that didn't like RTSs was Command and Conquer Soul Survivor.
With your one unit.
Yeah, which is now what we call a MOBA.
Yeah.
It was actually kind of a battle royale game. It was,
Almost, yeah.
Almost.
Because
It's called Soul Survivor,
Warcraft 3 started off like as even less of a traditional
Yeah,
RTS.
because the big change they made for Warcraft 3 was hero units.
Yeah, because it was actually more like
They're like, you're a hero and you have
like
one battalion, that's it. Have fun.
what was that game from Bungie, their RTS Myth, whatever.
Myth, are you thinking?
Yeah. I believe
That's...
I believe it's, Warcraft 3 originally was more like that, where it was more about like small groups of units that you kind of keep alive, and eventually they kind of pulled it back and went a bit more kind of like traditional RTS. But I think that's why that hero stuff was so prominent, because that was like a huge pillar of the game originally.
I didn't bring my... I don't have my research phone on me. But it was Myth Bungie?
I'm pretty sure it was. Okay, you just talk because you like talking.
I do.
And I'll look it up.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember Myth quite vividly. God, I hope I've got the name slightly wrong. Remember how I keep talking about Space Goose for years, and then someone pointed out Star Goose?
Goose, yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
It's the same thing. Star Space. Yeah.
How dare I?
Yeah, it is.
Everyone
Just
knows what
it is Bungie?
Myth Fallen Lords Bungie.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Bungie used to do other stuff.
Yeah, they did other stuff.
Speaking of other news, I've written down here, Jeff Keighley hates E3. So Jeff Keighley has put out that he will not be running a show at E3 this year, and he will not be attending, period. Which he is one of the few people that exist that have attended every single E3 that's ever existed.
He was very vague about the reasons.
He was vague, but still direct enough to say that he was doing it because he doesn't like the direction it's going.
Yeah, there was something
It is the start
about
of the
it.
death
Yeah.
of what E3 was.
Which is, like, whilst not specific, still like
Very targeted.
It's more targeted. Like, normally you just go like, oh yes, I have other opportunities this year or whatever. It doesn't line up, like generic. But no, just like straight up, I don't like what the show is. At the moment.
It's non-specific. But it's very targeted.
Yes.
It's like it's
This
clear,
is the reason, but I'm not giving you the details.
Yeah, it's like clearly that it's E3 that is the problem.
Yeah.
But he didn't say why. Yeah.
I mean, E3, I mean, I'm sure I probably speak for all of us, I think, which was, especially as teenagers, a dream to go to. It was like the goal. Podcast didn't exist then, but I'm going to become a shitty games journalist, and
I'm gonna get sent to E3
I'll weasel my way into E3 some way, and I'll get a whole bunch of T-shirts,
Free stuff, and
I'll get to play. I'll get to meet
talk to all the
Mario.
cool people.
Ogle all the booth babes.
Of course, you'd want that, you pervert.
Yes.
I mean, that is the truth about models. They are nice to look at with your eyes.
Yeah.
That's why they exist.
Yes. But E3 as it is now, they like to talk about being very influencer focused and experience focused and celebrity focused, and those are not why.
It's just not journalism anymore, is it?
I mean,
Not really.
Yeah, but its use as a platform is less useful. I mean, all the business that happens at E3 is still happening there, but all that stuff was basically behind closed doors anyway. So that's where people exist.
And that's probably
being
still
on the floor doesn't matter.
A lot of that would be probably shifted to GDC anyway.
Yeah, well, and Gamescom is the big one. I mean, GDC probably for American base and everyone else, Gamescom. E3 becomes less relevant, and they're really struggling to find why it needs to exist anymore. I mean, I'm still... Look, Microsoft's going to have a cool conference. I'm definitely going to try and do like a screening of it again this year.
Yeah. There's still enough there to warrant.
Yeah, Nintendo will just happen to put a direct on at the same time.
Yeah.
Sony, I bet, will probably still release something that week, just because they can't not put
They have to acknowledge that it exists.
Yeah, but it's just not the same sort of focus as it once was. Game news comes out all year long.
So what exit name are we giving to E3?
Oh,
stuff? Because that's the thing to do, right? If people are pulling out of E3, there's got to be some kind of Brexit-like word for it.
I think
exit.
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 It's just
No,
exit.
No, it's just like exit 3 or just exit. Or just exit gate. All scandals need a gate on the end. Yeah. Where is Brexit gate? Oh, God. I came home this morning and the TV was on. It was on ET, Entertainment Tonight, some people call that, James.
You weren't watching the movie.
And they were talking about the current updates on Megxit. And I just looked...
What's Megxit?
What? You poor precious porcelain child.
I know exactly what it is. Yeah.
So that is the leaving of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle from the royal family.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I know that, yeah.
Because apparently now that they live in Canada, someone was out on a walk and they asked someone to take a selfie of them, which already made me angry because you can't take a selfie of someone. And the person they asked just happened to be Meghan Markle.
Just happened to be.
And Harry was over there. And what a great story to be shared across the world. And as I watched each of these journalists discuss this, and I could not put inverted quotes large enough in there, I just wondered if they were all dead inside already. Or if they were just planning very soon.
I just think they were happy for work.
I don't. I just...
Empty husks piloted by what this wants.
Well, that's why dead
the soul
inside.
of a journalist.
Yeah.
Like, well, at least they're getting paid.
Because I don't necessarily think these people have a journalist background. I don't think they necessarily wanted to, like, go and cover anything important. But even when it comes to, like, entertainment...
That's very, low bar.
I mean, if our show was talking about David Jaffe's tweets...
Well, it is now.
Let's look him up.
I'd be like, so our show isn't important, but it's something that we're all interested in and we have fun with. But if it was just dedicated to the most inane, pointless, stupid shit around, I mean, maybe we can do a segment. Tweet of the week.
On Monday.
Just find a tweet for us from anyone. Just any tweet.
Literally, whatever the first
Open up
tweet
Twitter
is.
and read us a tweet.
All right, let's leave this. Tweet of the week. Twitter. And I don't even like Twitter. I'm just going to do a search for #GameDev, and I'm going to read the first thing I see.
I just wanted whatever the first thing that came up at all, even if it was an ad, sponsored ad.
No, let's go #GameDev.
All you've got is the Cafefe Trump tweet there. It's the only thing you've ever interacted with.
Here we go. 4 days ago from Andy Bacon. That's @PlayfulBacon is his handle.
Get ready for the tweet of the week.
Using Google Poly to source assets at runtime. Now you can create almost anything. VR game. Oh, that's pretty cool.
What I do enjoy.
Oh, actually, it's kind of fancy. So, what he's doing?
What's just happened? James has found something interesting.
No, it's actually pretty cool. So what he's done is he's like used like picking up like letters, putting them together, and then it's using some Google like model search to instantiate that model in the game, and it's all squishy. So he like wrote the word ape out of letters, and an ape appeared. It's like Scribble Knots.
So someone's made Scribble Knots.
Someone made Scribble Knots. Scribble Knots. That was a good tweet.
Who posted this again?
It was Andy Bacon, whose Twitter handle is PlayfulBacon.
Tweet of the week. That's a great segment.
I like that.
We should do more Twitter posts.
This was good.
James is finding interesting things.
I kind of want to go mess around with that.
Now ruin it by, I don't know. I can only think of David Jaffe. Yeah. Because every once in a while it pops up on my feed, and I don't use Twitter, and I don't follow David Jaffe, so I don't know why I get his tweets sometimes. Anyway.
The greatest mistake I ever made with Twitter was unfollowing Phil Fish.
Oh, yeah?
Because he locked his account down years ago.
Yeah.
So now you can't follow him anymore.
But
I don't think he removed anyone.
So
it's set to follow
if you're attached, you still have him.
Yeah, I'll still be able to look at what he's saying.
I miss Phil. I mean, he's probably very wisely interfacing with anyone.
No, he made the right choice.
Yeah, I always think the right choice is to not engage with Twitter.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that posts is when the show goes up, it automates a post to Twitter. I'm like, it's fine, do it. Yeah, it's a nightmare. Okay, so David Keeley hates E3, and he still will be doing the opening night at Gamescom this year. So he's picked his side in the battle between good and evil. The Germans, and the Allies, and the Axis.
Gamescom and E3, Genie.
Oh.
Good and evil.
Watched Jojo Rabbit again the other day.
We watched it for the first time.
I have not
Me
seen
and-
it yet.
Me and Amy.
Oh, it's
It's a good
It
movie.
sure is a movie.
I love it.
I very much enjoyed it.
I low-key think Sam Rockwell's story is like
Yep.
spectacular
It
through
is
that movie.
Quite amazing.
He is like he's never really the focus.
He's
He's like
the-
he's in a lot of scenes.
He's
But,
the
like, he's got-
underrated real winner there.
Yeah, he's got his subplot, and I think his subplot.
It
If
is.
when it was
I
getting
didn't
near the end of that
expect it
movie,
to pay off, and it did.
yeah, I was like, if they did that, I'd be happy, and they follow through with everything they've set up. They're like,
I'll watch it
It's
eventually.
solid. Like it, yeah.
yeah,
It's a good
really. It's one of the things I go like, oh, it's definitely one of his best, but it's also one of his worst because he hasn't actually made bad movies.
Yeah.
I mean, his worst movie is probably Thor, and it's an entirely enjoyable film. So only hurt by the times it has to be a Marvel movie. It's like, just cut those bits out. Just let it be.
On the topic of Taika Waititi,
Yes.
What We Do in the Shadows, season 2 is
It's-
on the way
Is it
with Mark Hamill.
so is it still the Matt Berry group of vampires, or is it new vampires?
I believe it's the TV show, like the US one.
So they're still continuing those
yes,
vampires.
I believe it's.
I-
That. It's
'cause
not.
it-
It's not the movie.
No.
It's,
I've watched
yeah,
season
it's
one of
the
it. It's
US
because
TV
it's Matt
show.
Berry's the sort of lead, and then
Yeah.
Um,
I believe that's what it is.
because
But-
they
but
never said anything. I never looked it up, but
they've-
I just kind of hoped that
they've
each season would
teased.
take
Oh, it'll be
another
a
route.
new set, like a different
Yeah,
city
yeah.
or something like that.
Like
Yeah,
it's
they've
different place, different
Chucked up a teaser for
comedians.
season 2, and Mark Hamill is coming along for the ride.
There
So that could be
are
interesting.
that's season one, especially in
But-
the last half. There is some amazing stuff that goes on in that.
It's so good.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Wellington Paranormal?
Yes.
It's okay. Not quite as good, but still fun. Okay, in
good.
finishing off our news, Platinum, a game developer, now partly funded by Tencent, the Chinese company.
How dare they?
Yes, taking that money.
How dare they and everyone else in the world partner with Tencent?
Yeah. So they launched a website last week called the Platinum 4, which...
Oh, you woke up Spanish Siri.
Hello, Spanish Siri.
Oh yeah, Siri.
Your wife's looking at me now.
Yeah.
And she's judging me so
Oh, I
severely.
know. It's a good picture.
Is that why you have that photo there?
Yeah.
Just like,
Look at her.
are you sure?
Look at
Are
a
you sure you're doing?
judge.
What are you doing?
Yeah. What?
I'm sorry.
She was very
I'm
confused.
sorry.
It's a WTF.
She was very confused when I took that picture.
It's a good photo, but yeah, she's very judgmental. Yes. Platinum 4, which might remind you of things like the Capcom 5, which is
Sorry, I don't know why that made me laugh. It reminds you of a thing with another number.
well, I mean, some of the people that worked on the Capcom 5 are now Platinum as well. So I think it's very deliberate in its saying it wasn't just because it was a thing in a number case, which was a series of 5 games that Capcom was developing at once, which were all supposed to be for the GameCube, and only one of them never released, and almost all of them were multi-plat eventually. So that deal fell through. I mean, Dark Phoenix is still coming, right?
Maybe.
Yeah. Or was it
Could be.
Dead Phoenix?
It's one of
Yeah,
them.
because Dark Phoenix is
Maybe
an
it's
X-Men
Space
character.
Goose Phoenix.
Throw this pen, and then who will mark off the things I've already written? So they put up and then a list of 4 things, and then the first one opened up, and it was what had been heavily rumored, which is that wonderful 101 is coming to Switch.
I remember talking about rumors of that coming to something 2 years ago.
I mean,
With
yeah,
a friend of mine.
yeah.
So,
I mean, pretty much. Well, anything that was on Wii U
yeah, it
was
was like,
rumored
well,
to
it's
come
going to show
Switch.
up at some point.
Yeah, there is actually work to do to it because that game did use the both screens at points, so they had to change a few things. But they are kickstarting it, which for a company that just got a big investment like Tencent, is a little bit on the nose.
Yes.
The general description of it, though, is that this is definitely a pre-order because if you do buy the game, it comes out in April. So it's not like they're doing any development between now and then. They are self-publishing it, so their reason for it was basically the same as...
so Tencent gave them a bunch of money.
Well,
but not for this project.
not for this thing.
Okay.
They've,
Right.
Yeah, so they've specifically stated
Yeah.
that none of the Tencent investment is going towards
Yeah.
one for
Yeah, it's just possibly bad optics, but it's
Yeah.
relatively straightforward. They are self-publishing, so much like board game Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Like, look, we have a product, it's finished, we weren't going to release it, but we need a certain amount of capital to push it out. It's like, okay, fair enough. That capital was 50 grand. So
It would have happened pretty
it
much.
was a lie either way. 50 grand was not enough money. But then they had the stretch goals. Those stretch goals,
Really, it's a very well played marketing ploy. Really.
Yeah. Because I think they're close to 2 million US now. So basically, it went. Switch was guaranteed, and then next up was like, might have been like a soundtrack remaster or something. Then it was PS4.
Yeah, I find it interesting that the stretch goals were like other platforms.
Yeah. So which is like, oh, I want it for PS4, but if it doesn't reach that, they won't even make it for PS4.
Yeah.
So
Where's Ouya on that list?
it is not. But there's also another console that is just not on that
no one
list.
can give that much money for Ouya.
Yeah. There is no Xbox at
really?
all.
Is that 'cause they get-
PC was on it. There,
PC
wasn't
was
it?
on
Is
it.
that because they're getting scalebound?
Yeah, I think it was PS4 then PC.
Yeah, the number of rumors come out that one of these other games is scaled are off the charts just because no one knows any other games. So
Yeah,
it's like,
it's gotta be
obviously
scalebound.
It's like, I think it's not impossible, but it's very unlikely. But yeah, so it's coming out. But then it started. So one of the stretch goals that they're well past is a single player adventure. That's all. So basically, at a certain point, they were funding DLC that will come out later in the year. So the game will be extended from that.
Which is a little bit what I forgot what it's called now, but that Castlevania.
Bloodstains?
Yeah, Bloodstains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they
That's
had
what
the
they did
entire
there.
other game that
Yeah.
they made.
All of the stretch goals were like just all this DLC and extra features and game modes and which are just slowly drip feeding out.
Except I guess they still had to make the base game with that
Yeah,
Kickstarter. With
yeah.
this one, not only has the game
It's just like we're done. Just
Yeah.
give us money and we'll give it to
the
you.
game's already released and the port's already finished. So I think it came out to about $54 Australian to buy it. So it is cheaper than buying it new, but not a huge discount. And I'm like, I do own the game, so I have not backed it. But let's see how sad I get between now and when the Kickstarter closes.
How long you got till it closes?
A couple of weeks, I
Oh, yeah,
think.
you're getting it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I am up and down like the Assyrian Empire here. Anyway, so that's it. But now they have a big announcement coming on the 27th. So I assume that will be 2. And then we still have 3 and 4. So considering they're not doing it like weekly or anything, that might take us all the way up to E3. Who with the timing, who knows?
Where they can announce Scalebound.
Yeah.
Scalebound 2, actually.
The secret 5th game.
And that's when they changed it to the Capcom 4. So that's right. We're changing a name. It might cause some exclusion.
You're never going to get that Phoenix game, whatever it was called.
It's called Dead Phoenix. Because, it was like Panzer Dragoon like.
Oh, yeah.
So actually,
Like
that remake
Scalebound.
of Panzer Dragoon is coming out soon, I think. I'm interested in that. Because I don't hate Panzer Dragoon. In fact, some might say I like it. But I do
It's
own
not
it.
the
I do
worst.
own it on the Saturn, so let's just go back and
Play
play
it
it.
on the Saturn.
It's one of like the 3 games I own on the Saturn. Okay, and then the last little bit of news I had here was a Game of the Year. So DICE had their big awards, and DICE is a pretty well respected organization with that. And their Game of the Year choice was kind of surprising.
They did a top 5-ish.
Did they do a
five?
top-
Well, it was a 5 nominations.
Yes, 5 nominations, and pretty much the nominations are all of our top games because let's face it, we're unoriginal and everyone likes this.
There's good
Yeah.
stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they gave it to Untitled
Goose Game.
Goose Game, which was great.
Oh, good for them.
Well, I mean, awesome for what's the company? It's 2 words like after each other.
Yeah.
Like repeated.
Can't remember
Shit.
that.
They're House?
Yes,
Yeah,
House.
House. Yeah. So they're Melbourne based, aren't they? They're
I
Australian
think
based.
that,
anyway.
yeah, they're Australian.
Yeah, like good team. The game
Yeah.
made a huge impact. It was really good. But whilst it would not be my personal pick, the salty tears of how dare you give it to a game that isn't my gaming? Like, oh, so good. It's like because they could never really say it's a bad game because it does exactly what it's intending.
That's not what I would have picked.
Yeah, I had a friend come over the other day and was just here, like looking through my Switch. I thought he'd pick like a multiplayer game for us. It's like, I want to play this Goose game. Fine, go for it, man. Play through. Oh, delightful time. Poke his head out, chasing the farmer. Like, yeah, it sells itself for it. It's a totally unique game. And in fact, the most general derisive thing I found about it is that people group it in with like Goat Simulator. It's like it's a pretty different kind of game, a very different focus. And you know what? I like Goat Simulator. I don't care what anyone says. I had great fun.
I've had
when
a
that
lot
came
of fun
out.
in Goat Simulator.
Yeah. I think that initial release,
Licking
I
everything.
I think I did everything in it. Man, the dark.
Have you seen how
rituals.
many things there are for it now?
The DLCs.
There's so many.
I think the last
It's
one
like
I
a
played
Star
was
Wars DLC.
their MMO one
Yeah.
with a fake MMO.
Oh,
Even with the fake chat.
Yeah.
going
That's
on.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
What a
Quest
series.
system and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a Star Wars one. There's a bunch of them. I can't remember.
I think
what they are.
basically the dirt, because it's not Bossa, is it?
It's a coffee stain.
Oh, Coffee Stain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coffee stain.
Like
yeah.
there's eventually they just complain. It's like it's too successful. We have to keep making shit for it. We
Well,
want to make our other
Oh,
games.
They would-
one of the games on my list is a Coffee Stain.
Oh, is
game.
it?
And
Fabulous.
it shocks me that it's the same company
Well,
that makes
like,
those two games.
the one they were working on at the time was the My Uncle game. What was it?
Yeah.
The one, the grappling hook game.
Oh, sorry for my
Oh,
uncle.
Yeah. And like I think the Goat Simulator, they made it on like $70 worth of Unity assets.
Yeah, it's all
And
just.
it was just something
Oh, yeah,
they
it was
threw
just a
together.
joke they threw together, yeah.
And I understand.
Phenomenon.
I understand why they keep pouring money, like keep making it, because it's their bread and butter now.
Oh, yeah.
But I can also understand they'd be looking, like, because you look at the kind of stuff they were making, it's like
Yeah.
it was not Goat Simulator. Their corporate entity was something very different.
We tried so hard and they like our crap.
I think, especially from like knowing game dev, making something like Goat Sim, where it is such a tightly controlled buggy mess, but it's all very tight bugs.
Yeah.
Is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Like,
Well,
having bugs is easy. Having bugs
yeah.
that work.
Yeah, it's like how do we make this feature that breaks
Bugs
the game,
as a mechanic.
Yeah.
but we don't break the
Yeah.
game.
yeah. Can't be big rigs.
Yeah.
Like it needs to.
Yeah, it still
function.
needs to function. And,
Yeah.
like when you clip through things, can't clip through the wrong things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that was a fun choice of game of the year, which I enjoyed. Okay, let's get on to some other video games. What was your Coffee Stain game?
Satisfactory, which is
It's
been around for a while. I played it back when it first launched,
Mm.
but they've had a couple of updates since. They've just released a big update 3.
Mhm.
This is
It is still early
epic
access.
early access. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is on my
This
list
is the
of like,
Factorio but 3D.
this is
and
the thing I'll wait
the
until
amount
it's
of
done
time I
before
have on
play
it is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I picked up playing the new update that they've added. So effectively, I skipped the second update, which added nuclear power and trains.
Mm.
And the third update has added liquids and pipes. And it's made it very different.
Mm.
But they've done like a whole rebalance to how everything's made and all the resources you need. So like generating coal power now requires water to cool it down. But it's still very fun, and you still lose. Well, I still lose far too much time in it. My programmer brain loves trying to figure out the most optimized way to do everything.
Oh, speaking of programmer
It's
brain,
pretty great.
I tried to load up the Zachtronics Shizen.io, and I'm like, oh, this is
That's a fun one.
I was like, oh, because I liked Opus Magnum. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I'll go back and I'll try one of these. And I didn't mind the T150. Like, oh, that was kind of fun.
Shizen's
Yeah. When
it's another level.
when it was like, make sure you read the manual. I'm like, oh, okay. Surely it'll be like a page to get me started.
No, they just
Oh.
give you the manual.
They say, here's the manual, and the first puzzle isn't like, oh, look.
It's not the first page.
Can you just like use the first page to do this, please?
No,
like
you have to
no,
go through and
you
find the
need to
relevant
read
bit.
that manual. And I was looking at it. I'm like I know I've said
It
it
is.
multiple times before that these games feel like work to me because it's too much like what I do. But this was literally like I could be teaching myself something else right now, and I noped out
but
so
you could
fast.
be using it to teach yourself circuitry properly, like more circuitry.
I don't want to.
very
That is
base
not,
level.
it's not useful to me.
See, when you're talking about Satisfactory, all I was thinking of is Infinifactory, another Zachtronics game, except scaled up and having to do so many things at once. Where I'm like, I like Infinifactory, I can survive with because it's a small thing. Once I have to like do a whole like factory timeline.
Yeah, Satisfactory is a crafted static world. So every time you load a new game, the world's technically it's like all the stuff's in the same spot and the biomes are all the same, and it's just big open. Because like what they were working towards is very much the updates at the moment is all of the mechanics, all of the different parts and items and the factory parts and like all of the stuff that makes it the game it is. But they are moving towards like doing effectively what No Man's Sky was doing of like eventually pulling in lore and story on top of that. So we have to see where they take it in terms of it becoming more of a story progression with all the factory building stuff on top.
It'd be interesting because
yeah.
I do like putting together systems. I did like because I mean honestly still what's the first Zachtronics Space Chem?
Space Chem, yeah.
It's like once Space Chem became not just building the elements, but making different factories that built them and then assembling them. There's a certain level of Zectronics that I still like Space Chem the most.
Well, did you play much of Opus Magnum?
I actually haven't played
because, to me, it's my favorite one he's done because it's the one which is most physical.
Okay.
Like what your majority
the
of
most physical. I mean, compared to Infinifactory?
Oh, I mean Zectronics game. Like
that is a Zectronics game.
Oh, sorry, not Satisfactory.
Yeah. That's all right. Yeah. That is all right.
Kind of.
Some of them get real physical.
Yeah, well, it's all about articulating arms and things like that. Like it's more about managing space.
Oh, okay.
So
I should get into it.
Yeah, because it reminded me a lot of Space Chem because Space Chem has pick up, drop down,
Yeah,
and it's probably closer to a successor to that than anything else. And it's on Game Pass, so you can go check it out.
Yeah.
But I really like that one because it wasn't like Programmer Brain felt like resources were being poured into something which could be productive because it was more of a physical puzzle and like this arm's doing this. And then it would like rank you on speed versus optimization versus like it was well put together.
The ranking, like the whole like cycles used, efficiency, and all that stuff. Just the amount of like I remember, especially our friend that worked on an engine at Remedy. Yeah. Just like in our spare time, all we do is play Zectronics and compare.
Yeah. Well, the problem I had with Opus Magnum was I get stuck. Like I'd get to the first puzzle and it's like, well, I need to be the best at all three. But like there's this kind of program where I am that comes out through that game where it's like
optimization.
Yeah, like
just to the max. Yeah.
Like I'd use a lot of parts, but it would happen quickly. Where other people would be more about minimal resources, but don't care as much about time. And so I think like it was almost like this like weird programmer personality test where what you would make would say what is important to you when you make when you develop.
That's why I kind of. It's one of the games I used to like put on when there's like a free week at the end of school for the high schoolers. I'd try to get them playing Space Chem or something, and not too many took me up on the offer because it really it's like other than like an educational tool. Really, at the base, it is you're designing algorithms. Like you find out quite a lot about different people and different strategies and the way of thinking. Because, I see something and think it's obvious, and then we have such different solutions to it, and it just sort of makes you realize, I don't know, it's almost philosophical to a point, but fun! Yeah. Anyway, let's get on from that. So, Satisfactory was the actual game we were talking about.
I just hijacked the whole thing.
That's fine. So, I have also played another game all the way through to completion.
That makes two.
Last year's, last two ever. Last year's low-key sort of hit, A Plague Tale: Innocence, which is now on Game Pass, which is why I played through it. So
I will definitely be playing
I was sure I had the game, but I tried to find it. It wasn't there. And then I found it in my start menu. I'm like, I did have this game, but it's not on Game Pass because this is a few months ago. Start. It's like, oh, your subscription has expired. I'm like, what subscription? When I got Origin, for Star Wars, it was on Origin Access, and that's where I got it. So then it came on Game Pass.
So many platforms.
I got it again. It does get complicated. That's what's because I had tried to find it. I didn't know where I had it. So anyway, it is a tale, medieval times. There are lots of rats, and you don't want to get bitten by them. So it's mostly a stealth game. So without getting too much into plot, you're a young girl. Your family's basically being attacked, driven out by Inquisition. You and your young brother are on the road, but also this plague of rats is coming. And the technology in the game is literally to have thousands of rats on screen at once, swarming, and they don't like light. So, it's a classic, stay in the light, move light with you, move from point light to light. But, I'd say takes 4 chapters until there's any rats.
Okay. How many chapters are there?
17.
Okay.
So
It's pretty meaty.
I'm getting in. And I'm just writing to my friend Cal who recommended the game. I'm like, better be some fucking rats. Come on, rats. Because especially at the beginning, like the storytelling it's fine, but it's so by the numbers and telegraphed that I'm like, I can't pretend to care about this sort of stuff. I'm just like, if there's a skip button, I'd be skipping.
Show me the rats.
Skip. Get me to some cool scenes. Get me something that's a bit evocative, and then I'll start to care a bit. Give me some time with the characters. Don't just have the characters talk at me. I don't give a shit. So as the game goes on, they do start to like the characters, and you start to get a bit more. It's like a band of merry men sort of thing. There's more of a cast as it opens up. I would say like the general twists in the story are like, yep, I've read the synopsis of the game. I know what's going to happen. I can't tell you the exact details, but you know what's going to happen. Those all happened, but it was like fun. So what's really cool about the game is that it's pretty AAA, maybe AA. Some of those are pretty meaningless terms, but it does mean that you get these set pieces that are spectacular. There is a sequence where you were going through a medieval battlefield after the battle, and the entire plane is just strewn with highly detailed bodies. It is horrible. You are, you guys seen 1917?
Yeah.
So it's a bit like No Man's Land scene, but just like like you don't know if you're stepping on ground or corpse, and like you're actually like feels very thick, and this is, I suppose, a bit unfair. I don't know. The fact that it's a game really fucking hurts it, because I look at this battlefield and go like, fucking hell, this is intense. But guess I better follow that path of lights. And now I can see I can open the brazier up over there. I'm like, yeah, because it's a fucking game, and
It's gotta have the
I've got to do all the game
systems.
stuff. And it's very clear what you got to do. Like, throughout the game, there are alternate ways of getting through this. You can sort of brute force your way through and everything. But generally, you look at a scene and go like, well, that guy walks past there, and there's a thing over there to distract him, and like you can see what everything is. And it's not really hard. And in fact, most of the time, if I got caught, because it's very stealthy, was just because like the easiest way to work out this area is I'm just going to walk straight through the middle of it and see who sees me. And then my next life, I'll just know to avoid that one person. And hey, I just walk straight through the area without trying. And that's partly me not fully role-playing the game, because stealth mechanics I find quite trite generally. But I did think it was kind of hurt that you have this beautiful game, and some really evocative scenes. I like, again, like trying to, so like you're at a farm, and for some reason the rats don't seem to like dead things, so they kill all the pigs. And I'm not talking like 5 pigs. I'm talking about walls of fucking rotting pig flesh, and it's like, again, fucking hell. Like, and there's a few like moral choices that don't have a bearing on the ending. It's just like your choice through it, and I kind of prefer moral choices like that. I don't want a ranking at the end like, you are 20% good. Ending C for you. So I got through the whole thing. The last part just had a few sequences that were not fun. Just sort of very like, we want to do a cool thing, so you better stand here and wait for the scene to play out. It's like, don't step out or we'll just shoot you instantly, and you have to watch the animation again. And I'm very impatient. So that happened a few times. Like, very cool looking final boss, very easy though. Because it's not really an action game, but because it starts to gear up a bit more actiony near the end. And it ends in a way that the story is complete. It's a complete story. But it very much says like, and more can happen here, and more will happen. So I'm expecting to get to announce Plague Tales 2. But the actual thing is, I don't know what they'll do with it that's interesting. I actually wish the sequel was a movie. It's like, because I like the characters now, and I think the setting is kind of fun. Like, there's a mysticism to it all, and I mean, I'm not going into plot details directly. That like would be fun to play with that lore and everything. But I mean, I've done enough throwing a rock at some metal to distract a guard so I can sneak past, and lighting up another torch so the rats don't eat me. Like, that stuff became pretty rote throughout the game, and I was just driven by, as far as I said, like the broad strokes of the story were obvious, but the way it was done was very satisfying. So, best sequence. So you are going through the enemy's like castle, and it's a pure stealth. You got no weapons anyway, so you have no choice except to sneak through. So as you're going through like the dungeons and like the torture chambers and the surgeries and stuff like that, so much good environmental storytelling, just like overhearing everyone's conversation and all this. Like this is all. In fact, this should just be a walking simulator where I just walk through this shit.
I was mechanically expecting it to be more like Hellblade.
Hellblade is Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very combat heavy.
Yeah, but I think more. I don't know. I guess like Yeah.
It
It is pretty combat heavy. It's just funny because I don't really think of the combat in there. I think it's because it was so like you mentioned. Oh yeah, there was combat in that game. Like when I was thinking about like I'd forgotten most of that.
Well,
yeah.
There was only one stealth area in Senua's
Yeah.
when you sort of had in the dark caverns.
Mm.
The rest was like you pretty much ran up to demons and fought them.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it's good that it's a straight up linear thing. Oh, actually, that's Paul with his complaints, and these are complaints about video games. But this is the game that's done this most to me recently, which is it's like that's where we're going. So I better go that way and check if there's any resources and collectibles. Like, but there aren't the people behind us trying to kill us. It's like, yes, but there's
stuff over there.
I've got to get stuff because there's a
I need the stuff.
There's a resource system where you use it to build ammo and different stuff like that, but also upgrade your equipment. So you want to keep picking up everything, which means you have to constantly walk off the beaten track. Which is the old thing of like, I'm at a crossroad,
The time pressure
which is the
as
way I'm
pressurous.
supposed to go.
I'll go
Good,
the
I
other
better
way.
go the other way.
Yeah.
Which I think is the worst thing games has ever taught us.
Well, at least in the kind of game that you're playing there.
But most games, like anything that have like a driven narrative, it's like if I said, "Oh, I'm going to James's place." I know. I better go to Sam's place first just to see if he's got anything James might like.
I know. I like this plan.
Hold on. I don't think I do, but
It's like it's such a
could
weird
check.
impulse that we've all. It's the old. You start a side-scrolling platformer, and the first thing any gamer does is walk left
Yeah.
to see if they can walk left, to see if it's a possibility, and if they can, what
What's
secret's
there?
been hidden
Yeah.
there because they've definitely put one there.
Yeah.
I should just put end credits there. Make a side scroller, and if you walk left, it's
It's
just
an
like,
end of game.
congratulations, you're a gamer.
Well, I liked in Bioshock Infinite where it had that button to tell you where to go.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you know which path to take
Yeah,
instead.
yeah. Because sometimes
That's
you
the
walk
worst
through.
bit where you find the crossroads and you don't know which way is
Yeah.
the right
Yeah.
way. So you go down one path and you're like, no, this looks like the right way.
Yeah, no,
You
no,
go
I'm turning
back,
around, I'm turning around.
And then it is the right way.
Yeah,
You go
like
back again.
there was a part near the end of A Plague's Tale where there was this gate that I knocked open, and there was like someone waiting for me over here, and this gate that I opened to was like, and there was like, don't go down there, whatever you do. I'm like, is this a choice?
Yeah.
Well,
Should
now I'm
I
going
go
Or
down
is,
there?
am I supposed to choose one of these two actions, or did I just open up the way I was going? If I go and talk to that person, do I get sent over here anyway? But if I stay there and talk to
Yeah.
them, am I going to be locked out from going?
Yeah,
Okay, I
it's-
go through the gate. And it's just a small area to get a collectible.
Hmm.
Oh, God damn it! But I was so anxious. It's like
Choice
ready
anxiety.
to restart last checkpoint. It's like if I accidentally pick the right one, I better restart this game. So yeah, I hate those impulses that come in games. Yeah, and
There's
I
a
do.
lot of weird things that games have taught us to
Yeah.
do that.
That's why I pick on like game storytelling so much. It's such like the storytelling here is fun, even if it's just like a fun adventure film. Like it's a fun story. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the characters. It doesn't really line up with the game though. There's a game happening and there's a story
disconnect.
happening, and there's the same characters in both things, and it looks nice. And yeah, it's like those things that I was telling you about. Like, and there's more that are just as impactful. And it's like these are really cool and probably better in a walking simulator than something where I'm like, oh, open up the next path. Oh, this one's timed. Quick, you hold the lever. I'll hold the lever button while you do that. I don't care. It's all obvious and rote. And but the looser it gets, the more freedom it gave you, the better it felt because it felt like you could actually explore the world to a degree. And it was a real nasty world, which was nice to visit for a while. Anyway, A Plague Tale: Innocence. It's on Game Pass, and also you can just buy it generally with money.
And
No, it's
on
not how
Origin
video,
as
it's not how
well.
video games work now.
Yeah, it probably still is on Origin, I assume. Yeah. Okay.
You can't buy games anymore,
No,
right?
you don't
I didn't think
own
so.
games.
James,
Mm.
anything you'd like to talk about?
Show me my list. Show me my list. Yeah, I loaded up Red Matter.
Which is a virtual reality game, am I
yeah,
correct?
so I picked up Red Matter on Quest for more money than it costs on the Oculus Store, I'm pretty sure.
It's not cross-buy?
It's not cross-buy.
Here's a weird thing. So another game that both James and I
Yeah.
bought this week was Wands. It's a multiplayer wizard game. We're not going to talk about it much because neither of us have played it very much. But like, oh, you cast spells on each other. That sounds fun. It was discounted on the Oculus Store for Oculus Rift and S.
But not request.
Not for Quest. It's cross-buy though.
So you just buy it on
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you go and try to buy it on the Quest, it had no discount and was double the price.
What are they doing?
It's a bit weird.
They're
It's
just
a bit
like
weird.
rorting anyone
And-
who owns
and
only
here-
a Quest
here
and can't
was-
be bothered checking.
Here was the weirdest thing. So I went and bought it on the other store, Well, in the same store, but just a different tab on the same store. And I go, oh, cool. I'll go download it on my... It's not in my library. I had to then go to the store again.
Yeah.
And
Like,
now the
free.
purchase was free.
Yeah, that's how it works. It's like they're not actually the same install. So one unlocks the other.
Yeah, one unlocks the other, which is also why they had
it's
the
like a
browser.
bundled cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like for something that is completely their own
so weird.
ecosystem.
Bit strange.
Yeah,
I guess
weird.
if they made it automatic, then there'd be more reason that like everything would be cross-buy because it's just part of the system.
Yeah.
But I feel like everything should be cross-buy anyway.
Yeah.
Generally,
well,
yeah.
I think that.
It should just be the Oculus ecosystem.
Yeah, well, I looked into the Red
Very
Matter one
strange.
because I was just doing some research on it before I bought because I wanted to know like how does it run on Quest versus PC, and the developers came and talk about it, like why does it cost more, and basically it was work. Like they had to do a lot of their own shader work, like new shader work and stuff like that, because they wanted it to look really nice on the Quest. So it was like, well, it's not like they just hit a button.
Yeah,
and
so they've arguably done.
yeah,
lot
and I think
development.
that's something to. I guess you got to keep in mind with the Quest is it's a mobile phone attached to a headset.
I mean, technically, James, all programming is just hitting a button.
Well, it is these days.
Over and over and over.
Yeah. Several buttons. In
There's lots
Yeah.
of buttons at once.
I mean, a million monkeys could do it.
So I kind of understand, like, all right, I can understand why there's different price points, but for regular consumer,
They
like,
don't care
that's
about
very
that.
strange.
but yeah, it's like, well, why would, especially because like the shops look identical and like why would these things be different? But anyway, the game. So it is I'm going to call it a communist space escape room. So it's got like this real, like it's called Red Matter, and they really lean into this sort of like kind of like Soviet kind of 1950s Cold War aesthetic. But you're in
Comrade.
yeah. Well, a lot of the game is in Russian, so you actually have like a scanning device that you point at stuff and it tells you what it is. But yeah, mechanically, the best I can liken it to is basically an escape room. So it'll put you into an area. There'll be something to solve, and the puzzles. They're basically, if you've done escape rooms, you kind of solve them pretty quickly.
You know what all the tropes are, as it were.
Yeah, it's a kind of puzzles where the solution makes no sense, but if you make a small intuitive leap, you'll get there.
Yeah.
I mean, like just as an example, like one of the puzzles is trying to get the combination on a safe, and you find a piece of paper which has the sequence of tried numbers, and so it's like, well, what do I do? Well, obviously you look for the pattern of each increment for each number between, and so this one doubles and this one is divided by 2 or whatever, and you figure out the next one. Like that makes no sense. Like, why would the sequence of numbers on this piece of paper?
Yeah, well, who wrote
like magically
someone
match up?
wrote this so that someone could solve it.
Yeah, like the
which
puzzle.
no one would actually do.
Puzzle makes no sense.
Yeah.
But if you've done an escape room, you're like, yeah, that's the kind of thing they do. Like, you say, what's this weird, dumb thing? It's a sequence of numbers. It's probably connected.
What if it's Layton's Curious Village, where everyone is a puzzler?
Oh, I love that. I love that premise. Everyone's obsessed with puzzles. So
This
yeah,
is our currency, the puzzle. How many matchsticks do you have? Oh, that's my low key most anticipated game at the moment. It's not quite puzzle. It's the murder by numbers.
is that,
Yeah.
that like a Sudoku thing or something?
Yeah, it's like
It's basically
Sudokus or
Phoenix Wright.
Picross?
It's
Yeah,
Phoenix Wright with Picross.
yeah,
That sounds amazing.
yeah.
I'll play the shit out of that.
It sounds so good.
So yeah, it's most of the game is like you kind of moving around. They got like the movement mechanics pretty good. It made Cheryl incredibly sick very quickly. So you have the choice. You can either kind of just move forward like regular locomotion, or a leap, a slow leap. It's not a teleport.
Like an actual.
Well, thinking like you're
Is
in
it in
space.
space?
Well,
Are you in
it's
space
because you're in a space.
a moon
Okay.
leap.
Yeah, so it's like a moon leap.
Sounds like a time to close your eyes.
Which is basically just locomotion but slower.
Which means you can turn while you're moving, and now it's all kind of like I like that you can kind of look around as you're going, but I think my threshold for nausea has gone
that
up.
sounds.
Mine definitely
Barfy.
has.
Yeah, because I put that on Cheryl, and she legit had to lie down
I think I would
after
have
that.
issues with that.
these days I can straight up play games where I run around with an analog stick in VR. Not for long.
Yeah.
But before
yeah.
that used to be a 30-second vomit
it's
rule.
definitely a learned threshold.
Yeah.
I know that much.
Yeah. Yeah, but apart from that, it's escape room. Someone else can liken it to.
Yeah.
There's been a cute little story so far. I liked with the quest not having the tethers. It actually kind of exposed this weird problem I've got with the not having a tether. Is that I feel like I should be able to walk everywhere, and the Guardian always is annoying because it's like where I was playing.
Buy a bigger house.
Well, where I was playing, I had quite a big area.
Find a field.
I had a reasonably big area. So, I had enough that say I was had a series of lockers. I could physically walk back and forth to kind of open and look and that felt really good because I've got the freedom to walk around. I wish more things would use the Guardian to better place you. Yeah. So it's sort of because I know there's
a lot that don't.
Yeah, because
even when I was using my Vive, there were very, very few games that used the area you had and helpfully positioned it.
Because I haven't seen too many games use station teleportation, and I kind of wish this game did because there's very definite places for you. There's not there's a lot of reason to explore every nook and cranny. You can kind of leap over there and look at something, but generally it'll be here's part of the puzzle, here's part of the puzzle, here's part of the puzzle. You're going to go back and forth between them. Where I felt if it was something where I could say snap and go there, and probably teleport rather than leap, they could kind of spawn me there in a way which maximizes the Guardian space. And I think that'd just be cool. I think that would give me more of a feeling of I can actually walk around and do what I want, at least, in this kind of area.
If you're doing it yourself, there's always that risk of something you need to deal with is just outside of your
Guardian
Guardian
and you end up doing, you just do I've got to move a little bit here.
And then I'm all right, I'm going to move the play area a little bit too far so I can kind of walk back and I can make best use of the space I'm in.
The weirdest one I found, I was playing Don't Touch Anything in VR, and it was just everything was just slightly out of my space, and so I was always just doing these micro movements. The weird thing was, one time I took it to a hall, the quest, and I put it on the maximum size Guardian, which is 25 by 25 foot. And weirdly, even with a big space, he's still just I'm not quite in the right
limited.
spot. I still feel limited. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. I was going to say, I also was playing sort of a bit of a first-person puzzle-y game, Conductor, which was okay. I don't actually have a lot to say about it. You're going along on a train and solving things as you go along. But what was interesting was I wasn't aware, so this is a bit more of PSA. So the Vive port is not just for Vive. It's fully supportive of all Oculus stuff, including the Quest.
Yes, because that's what I discovered the other day and was very surprised that it's a cool VR subscription service.
It's a subscription service. It's got quite a lot of games on it, quite a few that I wanted to try out.
Have you tried
it's
Groundhog's
just
Day
another
yet?
platform, really.
What's that?
Groundhog's Day?
No, that was on there. I need to try that actually because I'm currently just check my subscription.
It's in that weird world where because the Vive was a partnership between HTC and Valve. It's the hardware is Valve's hardware, but the platform is HTC's.
What I've also kind of liked about
so Viveport is a HTC thing, so they're not tied into we can only support the Vive.
Yeah,
we just support VR.
So we so with the link, when you plug it into the computer, it loads up the Oculus environment, and then I can load up either Viveport or Steam from there and continue. So I jump between all these environments. But the thing that's been great with all of them is basically once you run a program, they all see it.
Yeah.
So which is really nice. Just just wait, because even when I was saying about the Plague Tale before, it's what service did I have this on?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We just want to see what we've got and play it. Yeah. I found probably the Steam's been best at listing everything that I've had, but they're all pretty good at it, which has been nice because there was a Humble Bundle VR this week. I think it's still active.
It's a good bundle.
Yeah. I basically picked it up for Gorn, but got a bunch of other stuff. Gorn has been weird so far, partly because I just feel weird playing with the tether. I've just got to acclimatize to it. I just can't run everywhere I want anymore.
In that bundle, also picked up Moss.
Oh yeah, Moss was in it.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
which I'd never played Moss.
Is that the
mouse?
Yeah, and I have a new favorite game to demo VR to people.
Oh yeah, that was one of my main deep VR games.
Because I haven't played a VR game yet which says, first thing it says is, sit down. And everything will be within your arm's reach.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, get a chair, put it into, a space where there's lots around me, and I got a lot of room. And I don't have to worry about, my arms hitting anything, or like, it's all good. I'm comfortable. There's a book in front of me, and I'm turning the pages to go through the cutscenes. It's all very nice. But the way it uses scale is just, it's beautiful. It's
leaning when Moss first comes out, that little mouse, and you can just lean down and get so close to it, and it's animated so beautifully.
The animation is fantastic on that mouse.
I just love that world.
It's one of the most comfortable VR games I've played because there's no movement. I'm not like, it does a really nice fade to black with every transition, and every scene that put me in this little mousy world with all those little tiny houses
Puts you in the right spot.
I'm like sitting where I need to be, and it's like the camera's well placed where like I'm sitting in a town, and maybe it wants me to get a sense of like the size of like how long the street is, and like look to the side, and like I can see down there, like it's just really well put together.
As you get into some of like the dungeons and stuff later on, they really find some really good ideas of the perspective stuff. I don't think they've announced Moss 2 yet, which is insane because that game did big numbers, was a real showcase. They must be working on it. I wonder if they're waiting for like PS5.
Maybe.
Yeah, because it was big on PlayStation, so maybe there's been a deal and they're going to wait and reveal it.
Because I'm a bit turned off now any kind of virtual sword fighting games.
Yeah.
This is why I haven't played Gorn yet, because I just mechanically I haven't played one of those I like, with the exception of maybe Beat Saber.
Look, I've played an entire one round of Gorn, and I punched a guy in the face, and his face exploded.
It felt pretty good.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Well, more to find out. Yeah. Watch this space.
A lot of those types of games too is, for me personally, I look at it and I think I want to play that if we're ever in a world where we have good haptics.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's not going to feel right.
I mean that's
if you're swinging a sword at someone, you kind of want it to feel right.
Well, that was always...
It's very hard to do with a controller.
As we all remember, the great... Yeah, Clang was where I was going. Yeah, Clang was... Why... I never understood why anyone thought that was a good idea.
So that was the custom sword controllers trying to make a realistic sword fighting game.
It's like...
With no blades.
Yeah. Nobody pointed out to them
can't do that.
The point of sword fighting is that swords can touch each other. Like, imagine if there was like a lightsaber game, but lightsabers didn't actually hit each other.
It just phases through.
Yeah. It's like,
it removes all purpose of doing anything. But a lot of those games feel like I'm just playing an old Wii game.
Yeah. Well, I've also found that they actually old Wii games.
Waggle the sticks.
Because I got one of the big Oculus ones, like the gods of the something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And that one I found very quickly degenerated into like a waggle.
Waggle the sticks.
Because that just seemed to be the best way to do it.
It's the most effective way of doing it.
Waggle. And so the fantasies completely destroyed.
What is good is reflecting things. And shooting.
Shooting always feels good because you can get the little tactic.
Bows can be really good.
Yeah,
bows can be really good.
You can kind of pull back and release.
One of the things I played the most on my Vive was Quiver.
I haven't played Quiver.
The bow thing. It was because there were a few bow games that came out right at the forefront of when the Vive dropped and the Oculus dropped as well. Quiver got me more because most of the other bow-based VRs were like very shooty rangey. So like you had your bow and you're still doing the whole draw and fire motion, but everything's there in front of you.
I had
whereas Quiver is 360.
Okay.
I had Apex Construct
because you're effectively you're not defending a space, but you're in a space defending yourself against everything around you.
I had Apex Construct on the VR on PSVR. Which was recommended to me, and it's just a full-blown adventure where you've got a bow as your main thing. So yeah, it doesn't have the shooting gallery feel to it, which is good.
But yeah, it's satisfying to do the whole like draw and fire.
Yeah, because it can work with those controls. Yeah. What you can't do is touch something.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Boo-ba-da-boo. I played a tiny bit of Dreams.
So it's out now?
It's out now. I think it's fully purchasable now.
It's a VR version out?
I haven't tested the VR yet. I wanted to give that a shot. I basically just jumped into like their first like story to show off and everything. And all I got to say is that geez, Christ, I forgot how phenomenal that game looks
Yeah.
and feels. It's like there's a reason it's taking so goddamn
Well,
long to make.
I remember finding the engine,
Yeah.
like finding the properties on things. And I was like, holy shit! All right,
Yeah.
you're a game engine.
I've seen some of the things people have made in it.
Yeah.
Slightly mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I saw a game dev complaining that all this stuff's so inefficient. It takes ages to do anything. If only I had like my normal tools. Like, yeah, it's not made for a game dev.
No.
It's made for amateurs
Yeah.
that don't really know how to do it, and like is a safe environment where they can just kind of work together
It's
and
like,
noodle at
like,
something.
Like they can have a trigger, and the
Yeah.
trigger can do a thing,
yes,
and there can be some basic logic, and it's like go.
You can't
Yeah.
do that old PS2 Adventure thing.
Which
I
one?
had that. I had it on a demo disc. It was a demo disc. It was an old adventure game. It was
Yeah.
very like just very low poly.
I know
basic
I know
adventure.
adventure. Oh well, no polygons in the adventure. I know.
Yeah, no, it was a low
Oh,
poly.
this is a different
like,
adventure. Sorry,
3D.
I said I knew
adventure
and I
game.
didn't. I obviously
It
didn't.
was still just called Adventure. Bundled on the disc was programming thing, and it was literally on the PS2, mind, which you could plug a keyboard into. It was white text on blue, and it was just
always good.
here's your notepad.
Yeah.
Make something, and it was full programming.
Yeah.
Like it was
What
full
a game.
scripting
Yeah,
language.
because I found
I'm
on
like, no,
yeah. Oh
I'm
no,
not doing that.
when I was on holidays a while ago, I've discovered a game engine on iPad.
Yeah.
And it actually gave me just enough rope that like I was actually making shit. To the point because it was all written in Lua, and I ended up like because I started like trying to make a little spaceship game, and then I realized how much stuff that Unity does for me that's not
a
there.
lot.
I'm like, oh, okay, I'll
a lot that just
like,
goes
is there
on.
like an idea for a game object? Nope. It's like there's no scene graph
From scratches.
It's like you're just doing draw calls. You go and draw this mesh here, please. And so like I started like basically building my own little engine. I even wrote a particle system in this thing. I'd never written a particle system before. I'm here with my iPad, just like making a little particle system. I had a good time. I had a great time.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
I bet it felt good to go back
I
to
really did.
Unity.
Well, I
slash
believe you then.
anything else.
Yeah, I don't really have any full impressions yet because I've literally only put like 20 minutes into it. Yeah, I just play that. I'm still just playing on a base PS4. I've never got a Pro. It
Just
looks
wait
so
for a 5
good.
at this point.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
doing because the 5 is it's supposed to be backwards compatible. It's supposed to enhance PSVR. Like, I mean the 5 is the only upcoming console that makes any
Well,
sense.
why
to
would I
me.
get a Series X when I have a PC, which is
Yes.
effectively
Yep.
a Series X? Like,
That's
why would
pretty
you
much
buy
it.
a Series
I know,
X?
right?
This
Like-
is how Microsoft has won.
I'm like, I'm just gonna build a PC.
Game Pass
yeah.
is their console. That's what I'm saying. Games Pass is the new Xbox.
Yeah, it was actually there was some stuff about if Outer Worlds launching on Game Pass hurt it or helped it, and the answer was they don't know. It's complex. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, we've got to test how this whole subscription thing goes. I can see it, the benefits, especially for smaller devs, but also there's runaway hits that might not really happen anymore.
Or
So
it could be
we'll
the Netflix, and we're getting our fuller house.
see. Yeah, well, that's what I hope. That's what I hope.
that's what I hope.
The real question is, what's
Yeah.
having more impact? Something like Game Pass or Epic giving away all these fucking games?
That's devaluing.
Yeah, like as much as I love my Epic games and I get them every week, it
'Cause
does
it's
kind of
Syndicate
shit
next
me.
week, I
It
think.
does kind of shit me. Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Yeah.
Games have no
There's-
value anymore.
Yeah. Just, I mean, imagine being a teenager these days.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I've got a free game or free 2 games most weeks with Epic these days.
Smash it out in a week.
Yeah.
I've got free to play games to play.
There's a
I've
lot.
got all these bundle systems that come out. So, only
many
only
choices.
$10 and I get 20 games. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great.
Do you remember saving up to buy games?
Yes. Yes, I saved for half a year to buy Relentless. I begged and did jobs for not just my family but friends and everything. And I slowly got
I
up.
saved a lot to try and get UT 2004
Oh yes.
back in the Middle East, and then I had halfway towards the cost, and then I made a bet with my dad when we were bowling once.
Oh
I
yes.
was like, if I get a strike, can you just buy it for me? And I did.
Nice.
That was how we do it.
That's how I'd lose the half time that I already had.
What if you lost?
And then I had to just keep saving. It was really just a
that's
win-win.
That's
like,
a good bet.
Oh, yeah.
there was no,
No,
negative
I-
to it.
no, I feel
I was
like-
like, I might as well.
I feel like your dad should have like
Yeah.
taught you a harsh life
it
lesson.
didn't happen.
What was the first game you remember buying, James?
that I bought.
Yeah.
Probably Space Quest 5.
Oh yeah.
I think that was the first I spent with my own money. I remember like the first game I owned, which was Fire Zone. I still have a box of that somewhere. A CGA war game.
I think maybe Captain Comic was the first game we had.
Yeah, I'm trying to think which is the first one I gave money for.
Yeah. I think the first game I might have bought, the first one I remember saving for was Relentless, but I might have bought second hand from someone that I found on a bulletin board, I think, a copy of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Oh, yeah.
Because I thought it was the same game that was in the arcades, and it wasn't.
No, the different games.
It was a bad game.
Yeah.
That's very sad. And I didn't get any much pity from my dad.
And thus a life lesson was learned.
Yeah. It was. Don't trust people on bulletin boards. Well, I distinctly remember.
Still valid to this day.
It's weird what you remember. I remember trying to explain to him what the game was like on the phone. It's like, is it a game like it's not top down, it's like from the side a little bit and you have to walk around and...
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I guess. I mean, it was a side scroller. Yeah. Some bloody 2-color fucking terrible thing. Yeah. So yeah, Dreams is a game.
I forgot what we were talking about it.
Yeah, I need to play more.
Well, how is the quality of the content that's there?
From what I've played, but I was playing Media Molecule stuff.
Yeah, I expect that stuff's going to be good.
But I've been, that stuff was off the chart. But the stuff that they've been showcasing has been good too. I just have this dream of one day just having enough time to sit down and doodle, and maybe that's when I'm on maternity leave. Paternity, not maternity, but same thing. I'm enough good. I'm a mother. I'm great. Sitting there, with a baby in my lap, making some weird game about. Well, actually, do you remember the game I was going to make? I might not have told you.
I remember you talking about a driving game at some point.
No, that was a game we were seriously talking about making.
Talking about the one you put on Discord the other day.
that
sure was a game.
No. This game was a game about
Paul has a lot of game ideas.
it's about a baby, and it's about it's a physics game because you're a baby in a womb that doesn't want to be born,
and you're like trying to prevent it.
Yes. So you got to fight against contractions and see what age you can get to, so the baby would age inside, and it would be possible to die as an old man, still unborn. So that was the Dreams game I wanted to make.
You make that happen, Paul.
Yeah, I think it would be a good dream.
Follow your dream.
Exactly. It's like, no. Here come the contractions. Brace yourself. Push against. Anyway, it was very tasteful.
That could almost be a rhythm game.
It could be. Yeah.
Call it the rhythm method.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That's how you get pregnant. Okay. Games. Other games. I played a little bit of Persona 5 Scramble.
Did you buy it, or is it...
No, there's a demo. There's a demo on
Demo,
Switch.
yeah.
I think it's only on the Japanese store currently, so you have to go into the wild waters of Japanese language.
Who'd ever want to go there?
What I find weird is that the menu's in English.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nothing else is.
Yeah.
It's like, isn't this Japanese thing to just have menus in English?
Yeah.
What a strange cultural phenomenon.
It's just become a thing now.
Yeah. It's like, we can't really speak it. Because, I mean, it's not like everyone in Japan can speak English or anything.
It's one of those words where
they just know those words.
Like the words play and settings have just become kind of universal.
Yeah, they just know the shape. Yeah. It's like, that's
just
like,
a universal word.
So it's so much of a Dynasty Warriors, Miso game. I didn't even get past the intro. I was like, I hate this. It looks great. It's quite smooth on the Switch. It's once it gets into the cutscenes, stylish as hell as Persona 5 is. Boy howdy, could I not have given less of a shit about that gameplay. It's like, it is one of these.
Yeah.
I guess I'll never understand the joy of bashing through hundreds of enemies that are so non-consequential that they literally fade away and more ones fade in as you hit them.
Like I enjoyed my very short amount of time with Fire Emblem Warriors, but it's still such a weird genre.
It's almost like
So
more
odd.
of a resource kind of thing, isn't it? Where it's like you're never going to kill everything so
Yeah,
much as you're going to make a dent.
Well, it's you focus on like the big
There's like big.
It's only the bigger
about
enemies that
focusing
you're
on the
actually
big objectives.
fighting.
Yeah.
But you've got to go through.
You got to go
everything
through
to
the
get there.
thing. So yeah,
All of them are time based, or it's like the rock paper scissors nonsense.
And I've never got far enough in one to get to the deeper aspects of it because it's just so monotonous. But hey, it's a stylish as fuck game. And if you get actually into that, I mean, give it a look. The demo's out. Go have a look at the demo. It's all in Japanese, but I don't think it really
Just
matters.
push buttons and stuff
Yeah,
happens.
it had a thing saying push these buttons, and I pushed those buttons, and a thing happened.
Yeah.
And then the intro started, and I'm like, I don't need to see
You
the
have
end
good
of this.
music.
I don't remember paying attention. But this is more a note. You can go do it than an actual review because I did not put enough time in it too. Because I just straight up hate that kind of game.
Fair enough.
James and I played through We Were Here, which you recommended to us
We
ages
did.
ago.
Yes.
Made us extremely angry
Of course it did.
because so we're straight up.
I believe you told me why too.
Yeah, we're straight up spoiling the ending here. So
Oh, I think it's worth spoiling the ending.
yeah, so
Oh,
yeah, like nothing on the way. So don't the puzzles is what you're doing in this game. So it's a co-op game where we both go into this temple in the snow, and one of them goes into a library, and the other one goes into the dungeon, and then you can't see what the other person's seeing. You have to talk to each other to solve the puzzles and get through and get out. So at the very end, you get into the corridor to escape, and you both meet up again. And at that point, you discover it is a game where you both have a model and you both exist in space. Isn't that a cool thing? So there's a button you stand on to open the door to exit. So one person stands on it, the other person exits, and then it's game over. It's like one of you's the terrible friend,
Yeah. You got to
and the other one's
sacrifice.
dead. So all throughout the game, there's sort of there's like hidden notes there that aren't used for any puzzle in the game that we could find. Things about like the light lies and things like this. And so in this corridor, there's a whole bunch of torches on the wall that you can turn off and on. And at no point in the game has this mechanic mattered. So it's like,
We found it.
now it's our time. There's a
Yeah.
way out of here.
Because when you leave, it tells you if only there was some
yeah,
other way.
it says in the final text, if only there was a way. So we go back, we reload the last bit, we play through the last section of the game again. We're like, we're going to get both of our asses out of here. So after turning on and off every torch in every order we can think of, and when we stand near this wall, there's a whistle. There's a whistle over here. Going through everything.
You went too deep into the puzzle game. That's the problem.
I just look it up and find
Paul
out.
goes quiet for 5 minutes
Yeah.
as he's Googling it.
Yeah, there is no way to
Yeah,
solve it.
yeah.
There is no way where it just hinted that there was without an actual solution. Fuck that.
So I feel like whatever they were trying to hint at there did its job. Because it very much frustrated you. I think that's what was going for.
I mean, I think we were like, I was like, the wall behind us, it's got to be a phantom wall. How do we get through it? So the first game is free, I believe.
Yes, it is.
And I think we both own
the second game, yeah. So we should
So
get that.
you've just played the first one at the moment.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So far, yeah.
And so I was the
So-
librarian.
Again, it's not spoiling any puzzles. The other games have much the same structure.
Yeah.
In that, once you get to the end, it's one person escapes. I can't remember if it's 2 or 3. I think it's the second one where you can get both out. There is a way to do it.
We will.
Well, good.
Um,
They need to add that in.
Yeah,
It
it does require paying attention the whole time you're playing.
Oh, I had a lot.
Sorry.
I had a lot of notes that were
Yeah.
unused in the first
Yeah.
game. So, there's a series of lights on this wall that aren't matching.
I think it's the
other
second one.
walls.
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
we're
it's
asking
not
some
the
questions in Spanish again.
Oh, she's listening.
Thank you.
There's I'm listening to you.
Oh,
That's
As she
nice of
says.
God, I get more and more examples of my phone
And in
definitely
the
listening
third
to me.
game, you can wave and point
Oh, that's
at
good.
each other because there's a lot more of being
Of seeing
in
each
the
other.
exact same area
Oh,
and
that's
seeing each
cool.
other. Yeah.
Yeah, good little series so far. I think
Yeah,
we'll get
I
with the
really
other ones.
enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I think they're working on the
Um,
4th at the moment.
Oh,
which
that's
would be nice.
cool. Now, did you want to tell us about Farming Sim 19?
I can
Sam?
tell you as much as I want to tell you, and that it's what it says on the box, and that it's surprisingly cathartic.
Ooh.
To sit and farm.
It's got some real solid fences.
There's a lot of, like, literally.
Those fences.
Drive into them.
They don't move because first thing
But-
because I load up that game and it's trying to get me to like
And you
attach-
wanted to go on a wheat thresher massacre.
yeah, and it was trying to get me to attach some kind of draggable thing to my truck thing.
Yeah,
Hey,
the
he
intro.
talks the talk.
Yeah, and I'm like, you
gotta
don't
plow
tell me,
the field,
you don't tell me what
sow
to
the
do.
seeds,
Video game.
harvest the
I'm
wheat.
getting on my tractor car, and I'm just going off in the distance. And I thought I was going to cause some havoc, and I hit a fence, and I just stopped moving, and I quit. like clearly, game, you're not going to give
I
me.
put
what I
a
want.
little more into that. I started doing some actual farming, but yeah, it's one of those things where like I just zoned out, and then it's 2 hours later. I'm like, what have I just wasted 2 hours on?
You're not getting those 2
What
hours
the hell?
back.
But when do we multiplayer farm?
I know, right? I realized it's got multiplayer. I'm like, probably still exactly the same with more people, but it has a very large modding community. And a lot of extra
And
things.
what percentage is German?
I think most of it is German. Yeah, probably.
one
Well,
of the-
most of them are in Euro Truck Simulator and Train Simulator.
I have a feeling
It's one
I'd
of the
like-
two things that do very well.
What
Euro
I
Truck
found
Simulator
out
more.
playing Farming Simulator
Yeah.
is that the bit I enjoyed the most was driving between places
Well, that's why I think
and picking things up.
I think it's why I legitimately.
so I feel
should-
like I should go play Euro.
Yeah, I
like Euro Truck
legitimately
Simulator.
feel like I should play that game. Like,
Well,
give
you should.
Because the farming bit,
I went to buy
automated
it for
the
you for
farming
Christmas,
bit.
and
And
you
I
already
already had
owned
it.
it.
Like,
you bastard.
When I think about what I really enjoy in Elite Dangerous, which is where I'm just
Which
trucking
is
shit.
space trucking, right?
That's all I'm doing. Like, I probably would actually really like
One of
just
the things I ended up
driving a
doing in
truck.
farming sim, like once you start work on a field doing whatever it is that field needs doing, you hit H and you can get out, and there's a dude that you've hired that's just doing it for you, and then you can go off and do something else.
Okay.
It costs you money to do so, but it means you can you just have 4 people you've hired.
This is
working
where
on
I-
the
Is
field.
there a button
And
to
you can
put a
drive off
long
and do
strand
whatever.
of wheat in your mouth? And
There's
look
probably
at-
a mod for it.
let's see.
Yeah.
In Euro Truck Simulator, is there a mod to put in a realistic CB radio network?
I think there is.
I
I have a
wouldn't be
feeling it's
surprised
got
if
one
it-
in. Yeah.
I know that was something I learnt with the flying sim area, that there's subscription services of things like we have literally people running virtual radio towers, because so much about flying is that communication.
Yeah.
The actual how to fly a plane isn't actually that hard. It's knowing all the how to
it's
communicate
all
and where
the
you're supposed to be and all the
where.
rules around that. So yeah, you subscribe and oh no, you're going to do a test flight and you're going to call into the radio tower and let them know what's going on, and it's like. Yeah. If you're
the
into
communities
it,
in
that's
the
pretty
games
hardcore.
Like,
Yeah.
I've already-
full on.
I've already started looking up peripherals for Flight Simulator 2020.
Did you see the long gameplay vid that leaked out?
I've seen parts of it. Yeah,
It is a
yeah.
very pretty game.
Yeah, it's really interesting how the data's streamed in that game. Because you'll be able to play Flight Simulator 2020 offline. There'll be a box thing that you can buy.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of what's going to make this thing phenomenal is all the back end tech. It's all the using the map data to basically procedurally generate a world. And so it's actually going to be something where, depending on your bandwidth, if you fly back and forth over an area, it's going to get progressively better because it's just going to basically cache the data. But there's so much data that it might not pull it all down in one go.
In one flyover,
Yeah.
as it were.
Yeah, and that's kind of if you have a main airport that you fly out, if you play it in that sort of style, it's the area around you will be highly detailed and everything. In areas where you're just doing a single flight over, it'll
still
be
gonna
more
look
sparse.
good.
It'll still look good, but it doesn't
Yeah.
have that level of detail, and that's kind of fine.
Yeah. I mean, actually, one of the big problems I've had from looking at it so far is it's getting so good. I look at a city, and I'm like, where's the traffic?
Yeah.
It feels like you're flying over a zombie world because it's just that.
Just pretend you are.
Yeah.
Just immerse yourself into
it's
that
just
world.
that detailed. It's insane.
Your expectations become completely unreasonable because it's so good so far.
Yeah.
the other thing I was looking into with it, because I saw a mini argument on Reddit underneath a video about it.
Always the best place to find
A
arguments.
little mini argument between a couple of people about what a weather system meant, because the argument that this flight sim has a proper weather system in that it's using real world weather data and it's simulating it as if it was real world weather systems.
Look, it
all of
simulates
air
the
currents
weather,
and
but doesn't
all that
simulate the
nonsense.
climate.
And then someone responded but this simulator already has a weather system, and then it's just this argument about but that's just a made up, it's a fake simulation.
That's
of
just
weather.
weather just happens. It just
and then
rolls
it's
a thing.
but it's still a weather system.
Yeah.
This huge argument between what and what wasn't
Yeah.
a weather system, and all I put out of it was, they've done a full integrated proper simulation of.
Yeah, you go
that sounds fucking
these
cool.
Are, These are both weather systems,
Yeah,
and this
yeah,
one's
yeah.
simulated, and this one's
One game has it puts a storm in the world, and that storm is a storm. The other game has a storm that naturally changes the way a storm would. It doesn't just have a storm. Yeah,
storm on.
it's quite a fun argument to read.
I do like arguments online.
I'm getting so keen
But,
on that game.
Because one of the
I
other
hope- I hope I can truck things.
Flight Sim was the second game I got in the Middle East. When I was couldn't get a lot of stuff, and they were all probably pirated copies.
Yeah.
I know my copy of Untitled came on 6 discs in plastic, almost glad bag.
And
type
Sounds
containers
legit.
With printed out things. It was a 6-disc installation. And Flight Sim
Very
was the other
legit,
game I had.
What was?
One of the Flight Sims,
I thought
whatever
you said-
it was at the time.
I thought you said Flexin was the
No.
other game I had.
Like,
So
what's
So
this
whatever,
Flexing
whatever Flight Sim
what
was
a-
out in
oh,
2004.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should make a game called
I might get
Flexin'.
back into it just because it looks real good. It has that kind of cathartic zone out feel.
You could do like a VR muscle march style game called Flexin'.
Should make a game about numbers and call it Maxim.
But that's a game that does exist, and you made it. Well, my game would be cool.
No, fair.
Have
fair.
either of
Look,
you
kids love maths.
have either of you gotten that the Japanese game show like hole in the wall one?
There's a really
there's a
good
VR
looking
one
one
of
of those
that.
coming out that looks
Yeah.
really good. It's like I think it's Shape
So- yeah.
something. I mean, it might already be out, but not out on Quest. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
probably.
But it looked really good. It looked
Looks
hard as hell.
Mm.
And it's like the speed of which they were playing it was like, ooh, yeah, like hole in the wall
It's fun.
VR game.
It's the kind of stuff you need for VR, really.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, whilst I'm doing some bigger experiences, 90% of the time it's Beat Saber, Pistol Whip.
Yeah, that's
It's a
still
little mini game show thing.
that's
Yeah.
still most of what I want to play
Yeah.
in VR.
So yeah, Farming Sim. That's what it says on the tin.
Yes. I've been playing more Kentucky Route Zero, but I'm still only at the end of the second episode. Like, I'm really taking my time with it,
Yeah.
enjoying it. I'm not blown away by it yet so far, but it's just like I have a nice time with it. There's no pressure. Oh, actually, no. Second episode did start getting pretty fucking crazy. Yeah, the beginning of that starts a little bit. Some people are liking the environment to that of Control.
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
you're in a federal bureau of paranormal. But then it's so without contextually why, like saying what the scene is. One of the things that interesting in this game is the way it uses perspective sometimes. So obviously, I'm at the end of the second episode, so there's still a wide gamut of things that could happen to me. But so you enter a scene, and suddenly the voice that's discussing, because normally like it's your thoughts as the main character, or you're playing someone else, but the thoughts of the environment come from a third-person observer speaking of those events in the future.
Okay.
So it's like, oh yeah, they came in and did. So as you're doing something, they're like talking about what you did when you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're playing with all these
Just weird
ideas, and
tense.
it's just weird tense, weird presentation of things that just mean that it's always kind of surprising. You don't really know where it's going to go. As you get the themes are starting to reveal themselves a little heavier. But yeah, it's a real interesting game, and I can't think of anything that's had quite the same presentation of it. Oh, and that was the thing, because I always thought it was sort of, the scenes are 2D, and like you walk up and down, and there's a bit. So probably it was made in a 3D engine, but these are just like
Locked to a plane.
laid out.
Yeah.
Like nope. It is just straight up full on 3D rotation. Suddenly it's just like, wait, this is a 3D.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize it was a 3D game. I knew like 3D assets were in it, but I didn't think you'd actually made the whole environment. Holy shit. Yeah, so I keep getting surprised. It's cool. I like being surprised. But yeah, I've just been playing it real casually.
It's still on my list to maybe pick up at some point.
So remaining on list. Yeah. Anything we want to talk about?
Yeah, I played King's
I
Quest
think I'm all
5.
King's Quest 5.
So every now and then I get the itch to go play an old Sierra adventure game.
And the King's Quest, of course, being
and-
the most good.
And the last one I played through was Space Quest 2.
That's a good one.
And I played through Space Quest 2, and I'm like, that was a good game. Like, I didn't have to look up a walkthrough to remember what to do. All the puzzles kind of make sense, so my brain remembers.
Do they? I mean, I can't remember Space Quest 2 that much, but all I remember is
I think.
So, I mean, LucasArts games are obviously easier, but I've internalized them all so much.
Like-
I don't even know what the puzzle is half the time. I just go, this goes there, blah, 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 blah.
To a point with Space Quest.
Uh-huh.
There's still some bullshit. Like, there's things like, at one point in Space Quest 2, you need to dive into water to swim down and get, like, this gem, this glowy gem. And if you type, like, take breath, then, like, you'll die because you won't have enough breath.
Uh-huh.
But if you type, like, take deep breath, and you'll be fine. But there's still, like, a logic to it.
There's logic there.
Yeah.
It's
just
the
slightly bullshit.
It's like the beginning of the Hitchhiker's Guide game.
Oh, yeah, trying to
It's
get
like
the
the Babelfish is like every step you just gonna have to replay the whole thing
Yeah,
to learn what
yeah.
the next step's gonna be. You're like, oh fuck.
Where, with King's Quest, I was basically playing this thing with the walkthrough because there is no way I remember.
There's some
And
convoluted
like,
stuff.
I remember like as a kid trying to play it without and had no walkthrough.
Yeah.
And I felt like a failure because I could get nowhere in this game. And now as an adult, when I look at the kind of puzzles, like, wow, it's a good thing that I kept this custard pie, so when I fight the Yeti, I can throw the custard
that
pie in
Yeti,
its
man.
face, and that's how I beat it. Or
Oh, King Graham, you've walked down the wrong thing. You got
Is
killed by
5
a
the one
snake.
with the like that weird patch on a desert island you have to search, and if you don't, you can't finish the game?
yeah, oh, it's the other thing is like, oh, well, good thing that you found the old shoe in the desert, and that you could then throw at the cat to save the mouse, so that when you walked into the inn, the mouse could come save you and you could get out.
Well,
Thanks.
Weirdly, people were talking about the custard pie just this week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it was on like one of the best examples of moon logic. It's like you've got to feed the Yeti something, but none of the other food will do. Only the custard pie will work. But also earlier in the game, you are hungry, and
Yes.
if
You could
choose
eat the custard
yeah,
pie.
and you can eat the custard pie, and if you do, you are fucked.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
why? Why did this ever happen in the game?
I remember there's one that there's a part where it doesn't show you that there's anything to do like on a section of it, but there's an item that you have to win, but there's no indication there's anything there at all.
Yeah.
It's like
There's
kinda
things
shitty.
like you have to pick up a locket when there's a bird that's picked you up in its nest because you need to give this to a person later. And there's other Sierra Adventure game series. I have finished at least some of them in there with no walkthrough. Like I finished a Police Quest game, like I finished a Space Quest game, I finished Quest for Glory games.
I finished Space Quest 4, 5, and 6, but 6 is getting more LucasArtsy.
Yeah, it's more LucasArts,
They were all totally
they
fine.
were all-
Space Quest was generally much better.
Yeah, Space Quest, like, you could generally... Like, they still have dead ends, but you could kind of do it. And same with Quest for Glory. Like, Quest for Glory would generally have enough, like, multiple ways to solve it. That there are dead ends, sure, but it's like, oh, if I get my climbing up enough, I can climb up.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
thing
It was
to
a bit
break
more
in to get the
RPG.
item.
And it was the original... what do we call our Deus Ex, Prey, Bioshock, the System Shock systems? What do they call it?
I can't remember.
Damn, I can't remember the
word.
word.
I
I know what you mean though. Yeah.
Bullshit games.
Yeah,
There we go.
yeah. But yeah, King's Quest V. I mean, it's been fun playing
King
it.
Graham!
Yeah. The other thing I completely didn't realize when I first played through it. Now I do. Cedric, fucking useless. That
Piece of
owl.
shit.
That's like they went to the game. Right. Let's give this guy. Let's give Graham like an animal friend. He does nothing. Like it's like
Just exists.
yeah, it just like follows you around. It's like,
Good
Cedric, you're
help.
bringing nothing to the table. You're not helping me solve anything. You're causing me trouble.
Didn't we interview the person that played Cedric or played
Yeah,
King
no,
Graham?
yeah, there was there was a dev interview we did once where I think it might have been King
remember.
Graham.
I
did
can't
the
remember
voice
who
of.
it was
Yeah,
we
it was like,
interviewed.
yeah, it's like some old Sierra person that that was the voice of King's Quest. I do love the world of King's Quest. It's like this delightful fantasy mishmash.
I mean, it's no Kyrandia, but pretty good.
It's kind of in the vein of Crandia, isn't it? But man, the puzzle design.
Bring back Kyrandia. Who has that license?
Oh, who's got Crandia? Oh, I don't know.
I think
Where'd
Kyrandia 2 and 3 are legit awesome.
Crandia 3 is great, especially.
Yeah. 2, Hand of Fate, that had some wild things. 1 was a bit problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of moon logic in that one. Oh, you've used your last blue thing. I guess it's game over for you, you idiot. What a time for adventure games. There's still some good adventure games now. Unavowed, love that one. You liked it
Peasant
too.
Quest.
Get Ye Flask.
Yeah, Peasant Quest was actually
You
pretty
cannot
good.
get Ye Flask.
Yeah, Unavowed was good. There was another. There's still quite a
Kentucky Route Zero.
Yeah, there's still
I actually did
quite a few good adventure games.
Weirdly, I did a list of like adventure games and adventure game likes for someone just on Switch the other day because they were like, "Hey, are there any good adventure games?" Like, actually, I've got 20 for you.
I keep waiting for the new Larry game to get cheap. It doesn't go down. It looked good.
Did it?
Yeah. Like it's really pretty art.
That's true.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, the art looked fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Like it looked like it was trying to channel original Larry,
But
but it's just expensive.
but also, I feel kind of if someone made a game like the original Larry now, I might just be creeped
Sure, it
out
would
by
go
them.
down very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that. There was a certain earnestness and innocent horribleness that went into make Larry.
Well, I think
In
that's
the world we're in today, maybe.
well. I thought that's part because like it's Larry in modern.
Yeah,
times.
that's
what
it
it
says,
yeah.
I mean, I'm just prejudging. I have not
Yeah.
played it. Isn't it Wet Dreams Don't Die?
Yeah.
Which again, isn't that just a parody of D4, which is not a thing that's popular enough to do a parody of? Like that saying isn't from anything else, is it?
I have no idea.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, because I only know Dark Dreams Don't Die, which is a swearing game, which is I don't get it. It's no. There's like 20 people that played that game. Anyway, maybe there's a
The
famous
Venn
saying I
diagram
don't know
crossover
Yeah.
of like
of Larry people and
Yeah.
sweary fans. I mean, I guess there's probably a bit of crossover. Oh god, Deadly Premonition 2 this year. Can't wait. I actually just want the first one to get cheap on Switch to play because I never completed it. I'd like to give it another go. So I think what's on... Oh no, that's not this. That's
last-
this.
that's
Yeah, good MS bullshit.
Yeah.
I thought I'd already talked about finishing Hypnospace Outlaw, but I finished Hypnospace Outlaw.
No, I don't believe you did last week.
Yeah.
So even though Hypnospace Outlaw was in my top 10,
Yes,
I have not finished it, and
I
James now has.
found out that Paul had not
Ooh.
finished it.
No,
So you
no,
did it before him.
I need to get... Well, I was playing it on my laptop, and I actually don't use my laptop very
yeah,
much.
that
So I
makes
was
sense.
like, I'll just
Yeah.
get back to it next time I turn my laptop on.
Yeah, that became such a chill out game for me. Like, there's still stuff for me to do in it. Like, I haven't found all the puzzles.
No.
But there's like a definite ending that you can get to, and it was like so satisfying. Like, I guess a little bit like I was talking about the escape room stuff, where there's like you're given like a problem, and the solution is some dumb intuitive leap, but you're right.
Yeah.
And it's always satisfying. Like, I guess like I'll just kind of half guess what this is, and my half guess is right.
Well, remember, Hypnospace Outlaw is in a dream internet. So
yeah.
So it all makes sense.
a bit of dream logic can work too.
I felt what they did with things like guessing passwords is
Uh-huh.
there was just multiple correct answers.
Possibly.
And so it was more like, as long as you took an intuitive
You're
leap
getting
somewhere,
close enough,
it's like,
yeah.
you can get in. It's like, when you just type in the word and you get it, you're like, that was a leap, but I'm so glad I got it.
That's how I design D&D stuff a lot of the time. It's like, I have a solution, but if you come up with something that's kind of cool, sure.
You
It's
got
the
it.
solution now.
That's the password thing that's always insane in TV shows. And it's like, so their password is like their first lover. So I write James, but
I wasn't your first.
I mean, the first real lover. But it's like, okay, so the password's James, but is it James 69 or is it James 420?
Capital J.
Is it capital
there a
J?
4 instead of an A?
Yeah, exactly.
Who
It's
knows?
like, so even if you do know the word, most passwords, you still got to have, 20 combinations
Yeah,
before
what
you even
random
get there.
modifiers on
But
it.
it's always like, that's his cat's name. Definitely just
Yeah.
that first time. Like, no, what about an exclamation point?
Yeah.
It's classic.
Everyone
Look,
does all that stuff now.
I feel like we could get away with that in movies in the days of like
Just write God.
When people did just have
like
those
hackers
passwords.
and the net. Probably now people have been drummed into people enough
I-
to put in an uppercase letter and a special character.
Someone shared their Stan account with my wife before we subscribed, and their password, I think, was legit let me in.
Oh, really?
And I was like, people, that's a real one? I mean, that's how, when I was a teenager, my Hotmail account got hacked. Because back in those days, you set your own secret question and answer.
Yeah.
And mine was why, and the answer was because. I mean,
That's probably the first thing I would guess.
yeah. I mean, I was 10 when I made
Yeah.
it, so...
See, I've now migrated to like all secret questions and answers. I just pick a question at random, and then the answer is generated like a password, and then
Yeah,
it's stored
yeah.
in a password
Yeah.
thing.
I do my secret answers are actually passwords.
Yeah.
So
I hadn't actually thought of doing that. That is a clever thing to do.
Yeah, you just if you're using a password manager, use the
Yeah.
same stuff.
Oh no, because
If you're not,
'cause-
you probably should be.
even though I should trust them, I don't trust password managers
Oh,
either.
it depends on what you use, I guess. Like I don't trust any that call back
Hmm.
or like are stored not on my computer.
Yeah. Well,
Whereas
I mean,
mine, I've got it pushed through, and then it's the one thing I'm using my NAS like as a shared network thing for is
I mean-
my password database.
yeah.
So it's all
I also
under
just
my
have to
control,
worry that
but
if I
it
don't, I
is-
don't actually know my
it is
passwords.
at the end of the day. It's like it's still one password to access all your passwords.
Yeah.
Which is a little dangerous, but we're
But
in that.
if you
we're
say-
in that age where like that's better than having easily guessed or rememberable
Yeah.
the same password.
And
across
you
all the
throw in
accounts.
some kind of like like double authentication.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
Well, that's the thing.
I did see yesterday on a IT tech funny thing, picture of in store this big A4 sized bound book, and it was password storage book. That's literally what it like. Wasn't even part of the wrapping. It said that on the front, like written into
nice
it.
and clear.
Like, just keep that somewhere safe. No one can get anything.
I mean, that's still. I go into any sort of mainstream office and main admin's
Just on
desk.
post-it notes
on the
everywhere.
There'll be there's normally just like a book or a sheet of like all the phone numbers and passwords they need to know
Like,
for the thing.
There is some logic in that.
A decade ago, like I always had the argument of like, I always said to Mum, especially, it's like, if you're gonna do that, like writing your passwords down, having a different password, everything, is still better, because like a decade ago, anyone who's coming into your house and breaking in isn't there to steal your passwords. They're there to steal your shit.
I had an important...
they're there to steal the things they can sell.
I had an important lesson about security in my first job when we were using a Linux machine and I'd somehow managed to lock myself out. And some guy came along and was basically doing things to hack his way into it. And I made some comment about, like, is this like... This seems like pretty insecure. And it's like, yeah, but the moment that someone's got physical access to your hardware, you've lost the fight.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when I actually think about the idea of like a post-it on a screen, it's like, for someone to get it, they have to be in the building.
Yeah.
Like
as someone that last year did a short seminar really on corporate fraud. No,
okay.
you're wrong, James.
Okay. I'll happily be wrong in this.
The amount of damage I could do with like an admin's general password in a corporate government network without being detected for a few months. Woo!
Oh, okay. All right, no, I'll happily yield on that one.
Yeah. I was like, basically, they were teaching us about fraud, but I learnt so many ways to commit it. I was like,
that's how that tends to work.
There's some great ideas.
You're taking notes,
and
like,
then,
wow, you're really interested
at the end,
in this.
they like had questions, but didn't really have questions. Just had suggestions for other forms of fraud. So, has anyone tried this? How easily could you detect that?
Don't give them ideas.
I mean, we were all in on it. Master criminals by the end of that one. Oh, it was amazing. I thought they were going to try and sell me something, but they didn't. They just taught me about fraud and gave me a lobster tail. It's like, I'm just a public school fan. Why did I get invited to this? This is amazing. And all before school started. Yeah, that's the best junket I've been on in a while. Teach me stuff and feed me nice food. Okay. So Hypnospace, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good video game.
Yeah.
I think it deserved to be in your list. If I'd actually finished it before...
It might have got up on your Zoom.
It might have got in there.
It's just such a unique game as well. It's like nothing else is really like it.
Yeah.
And some of that music.
I just found it such a joy to play.
Yeah,
I legit would just sit there, just browsing it. Like there's so much stuff on it. I'm like just digging through, trying to find, like following little threads of like, I'll follow this search term, and then I haven't seen this site before. And
that's why I like the idea of people just modding more content into it and just making it a storytelling platform just to explore. It's like, I made a bunch of characters and they made their websites, and I made a website pretending to be somebody else, and it's great stuff. Anyway, cool. On my list, I'm probably just not going to talk about that, I don't think.
Because I've got other stuff to talk about, but I haven't played. Like I got Walson, the new Diablo-ish game, but I've played all of about.
I think I saw some real derogatory headlines about that today.
I'll possibly be picking it up. So.
Yeah, well, most of the negativity I've read about it has been purely technical.
Yeah.
Yes.
From what I've played of it
but
so
for
far,
a game that has been in early access for 4
Yes.
years, launching with major technical issues seems like a failing on their part.
Yeah.
I mean, we can talk about it.
yeah.
I'm not saying I haven't played it.
I have
can't-
opinions there.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm keen to play it, but it'll be post-holiday. I'll be jumping into that.
Yes. What's coming up? There's a bunch of stuff.
We've got
coming up.
Alex coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, Half-Life Alex. So
Yeah.
we're all geared up for that.
Quite literally.
Tomorrow, which will be 2 days ago when this comes out, or 3 days ago. What day is it? It's Wednesday. There's a Animal Crossing Direct where they're going to go into it. We're going to learn some stuff about how that's going to work.
We'll see the actual gameplay of Baldur's Gate 3 next week.
Oh, yeah, they pissed me off today. Well, I wasn't really pissed off.
I linked it. I'm like,
Sam, question: why were they building sets?
Were they building sets?
I don't know if they were building sets. They're doing a lot of like a lot of their mocap is very like.
I thought I saw sets.
point.
I'll have to
I
go back
don't
and watch the
think
video
so.
again.
When you saw rocks and stuff, I think that's taking reference photos until I'm
No, I think I saw them building like castles and things. Like I thought I saw them building a physical set, but maybe
I think you did.
maybe my brain made it up.
It did show a beach at one point, which I'm
Yeah,
assuming was
yeah.
for sound design.
Oh, they're just getting some beach.
Or they just want to go to a beach. Like,
Yeah.
just having a nice.
Yeah. It was
It's
game
the holiday.
It was gameplay teaser, but I misread it. It's gameplay teaser.
It was
teaser.
gameplay announcement teaser.
Yeah, and that
The
they
teaser
will be
for the announcement.
Yeah, the announcement will be next week at PAX
Yeah.
East. And we'll see some gameplay of
Which will be
Baldur's
interesting.
Gate 3.
I'm hoping they
forward to it.
really get into the community content stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a bit lacking at the moment.
Divinity's got a good chunk.
Does it have like you can go
It's got
in
a full
and
game
make
master mode.
towns and
Yeah. There's a full game
So you
master
can make
mode.
maps
You can
and
go
stuff
in,
like
you
that.
make a maps.
Okay.
You can put your own like scripts is the wrong word, but effectively like AI scripts on a lot of the enemies you can toss in there and effects and like you basically have the full tool set of Divinity to work with.
I hope it's
it
got
does
Witcher
exist.
2
And then
combat.
that mode for it
Mm.
is actually a game master mode, so you can run it and one person's in control of the map whilst the others play through it.
So you can actually have
So
like
you
a
can
game.
change it on
So
the
you can have a
fly. You can
GM,
actually
yeah.
run it like it's a tabletop RPG. So to take that kind of system and put it into something like Baldur's Gate, where it is D&D, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes if they do that.
And D&D
I'll be
stands for
looking forward to it.
Dungeons and Dragons for
Yes, it
those.
does. For the
uninitiated.
yeah.
Okay, I think that brings us to the end.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching or listening to 8.5bit. You can go to our website, 8.5bit.com, our Twitter and Facebook. You can join our Discord if you want to talk some shit, discord.8.5bit.com. I've been your host, Paul,
I'm James.
I've been Sam.
and I'll catch you all later, folks. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.